having a good morning. I know I am. I need to send this link over real quick to the Discord. Give me one sec. What? Tell me why I got notified that I'm live. Like, about my own live. Hey, what's up, Fango? How are you? Thank you for coming. Give me one sec, guys. I'm alright. Not too bad. Guys, make sure to hit the like button. I'm alright. Not too bad. Guys, make sure to hit the like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. Just give it a little tappy. Hopefully we get more people on this stream than what we did the last one. I know it's late though. Well, early. Oh, wait. No. We can't post that. Remove the fuck. Hold on, guys. Give me a minute. Hold on. Axe, you gotta delete the PayPal from that. Let me send you the new PayPal, okay? Get it on my computer. Oh, wait a minute. No, I can do it this way. Hang on. There you go. Hey, I have a few weeks to live, but your vids are awesome. Oh my god, Churros, that's so sad. If I do you want to talk about what's wrong? I don't want to ask. Like, I feel like that's kind of insensitive. Well, if you ever need to talk about it, I'm always here. Axe, I posted it in the Discord. So if you can, just take the paragraph you already have and just, like, delete the old one and put the new one in there. I'm gonna, fix my video. What's up, Dakota? Good to see you guys this morning. I feel like it's been, like, days and it hasn't been. Guys, make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. What's up, Skill YouTube? How are you? Ashley, look at me. I hate that shit. It was funny at first, and then I, like, not even cute now. It's like, alright, whatever. Lame as fuck, bro. Lame as fuck. Alright, I fixed the PayPal. Axe, did you get the PayPal link thing? I just want to make sure you got the right one. It's also in the description now, so. It's xearthtoashley. Okay, cool. Can you repost the thing, but with the new PayPal? I don't know why you're saying you love me and calling me baby. I don't know you Skill like that. But alright. Whatever floats your boat. I love all my viewers. I have no idea. Yeah, no clue. How would I know? Hang on. Sorry, guys. I'm back. Sorry, guys. I'm back. There we go. Thank you. Let's go ahead and pin that. Appreciate you, Axe. Very helpful. Oh my god, guys. It's so boring here this morning. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. Bite marks on your chest. The song's still stuck on my fucking head. Damn, we got nobody here. We need more people. Guys, make sure to share out the live to like your friends and on your social media. I'm scared of I'm always scared of reading those. Yeah, alright, ADD. That's cool. That's cool you think that. I don't really care, honestly. By the way, there's not even a dislike button. You came in annoying from the start, so yeah. It's 7 in the morning. You expect me to jump up and down? Like, the fuck? Anyways. Oh no, it's gonna play. It's gonna be so loud. So did you guys see that they found the backpack of that guy that killed his CEO? Like, he dropped it off in Central Park. Dude was smart about this whole thing. Why people are assholes? Because they just are. I'm sure you've gotten them on your live, too. People are just fucking dumb. That's just how it works on YouTube. The dumbasses just love shit talking. I don't know. Just annoying. But yeah, anyways, they found the backpack of the dude that killed the CEO of United Healthcare. Pretty cool. I mean, not cool, but it's good that they found it. Yeah, it says the manhunt intensifies. We're gonna listen to it, guys. I'm curious. The CEO was under investigation with the Department of Justice.
Who repeatedly shot an insurance company CEO in New York City and methodically fled the scene.
Yeah, that's probably not good then.
After a frantic 3-day manhunt, tonight the NYPD now believes the suspect who gunned down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has escaped New York City. Last seen riding out of Central Park on a bike.
He's out of New York. They already know that.
Taxi headed to the bus station by the George Washington Bridge and made his getaway.
The bus station, yeah.
Every New Yorker and American to look at the
I think he's gotten up. He definitely was able to get on a plane in time. There's no way he wasn't.
Reach out to our law enforcement. Late today, the NYPD and an army of officers across
Hang on.
Central
What's wrong, honey?
for the gunman.
What's off? Okay.
Backpack. A source tells ABC News they discovered this backpack believed to have belonged to the suspect.
He left on the bus. Yeah, but I think he left New York altogether. I think he probably left the country.
New York, November 24th, 10 days before the shooting, on a Greyhound bus boarding somewhere between Atlanta
And he had a fake ID.
Detectives are using facial recognition technology on the only clear
Do you need mama?
suspect's face, captured when a clerk checking him into a
Can see
hostel
him.
asked to see his smile so she could compare his face to his ID, which sources say was fake. Police also pulled DNA from items recovered near the scene, including a cell phone, along with a smudged
And they
fingerprint
got a
off
backpack.
water bottle the suspect bought at a Starbucks minutes before the murder.
He looks so different with the mask pulled up, in my opinion.
The words deny, defend, and depose found on the shell casings, a possible reference to ways insurance companies avoid paying patient medical claims.
Deny, defend, and dispose. Damn. Or depose, sorry.
Reportedly denies one of every 3 claims.
I think the shooter is trying to send a message that someone, either himself or a loved one or someone close to him, has been harmed by this insurance company.
Yeah, that's what I had said from the start. And that I felt it was going to end up being either a hitman for somebody like that, like, or that he or his family members were sick and couldn't get health care.
Thompson's murder has unleashed an outpouring of anger on social media toward the health insurance industry. And tonight, several companies are pulling executive profiles off their websites.
Damn.
Aluminum-free deodorant for pits, feet, and more isn't a myth. It's native.
Nate? Wait, this one. What else is there?
Aphrodite! Try Native, an effective whole-body spray made with natural propellants. Clean all-day odor.
Wait, what? There was an American YouTuber kidnapped and killed in the Philippines?
An American vlogger who decided to document his move to the Philippines reportedly was kidnapped in one of the country's most dangerous regions, and now, according to authorities, he is believed to be dead. We're digging into how an honest attempt to make it in a new place.
Damn. Take some big dabs. My pen won't charge. I think it's just broken now. I don't know. But I mean, I do have this one, but I need a new electric nectar collector. Where I am smoking a blunt though. You live in Cali? No, I live in Ohio. I used to live in Cali for a little bit.
Married a local woman named Carisha, and it appears, based on his live streams, that he had opened a small
And people waiting for approval.
Now,
I don't have a nectar collector anymore. I don't have a torch or like a rig to be able to hit my dabs. I have like just 2 rams of dabs, but I can't smoke it as I put it into blunts. So I'm just smoking. Yeah.
Here's the thing: as time passed on, Eastman appeared, he seemed to get a little bit more wary of his surroundings, and often mentioned kidnappings as potential.
Are you a throat go is crazy. Ash, what's up, EJ? Stupid talks. What's the text? What?
Now, Carisha's family apparently
Take a vape and hold it for 20 seconds.
Back in August, based on what was said on the live streams, there was reportedly some drama involving Carisha's sister and her parents' decision to actually take down one of the pieces of plywood.
Can you try? I mean, yeah, but right now I'm smoking the blunt.
What happened? It led to money being stolen from the store. And during one of his live streams, Eastman talked about this theft with someone who wasn't identified, but sounded like they could be someone who lived in the neighborhood.
We got robbed last night.
What?
Yeah, our store. I think maybe somebody climbed through here because we left our money here in my store. So I think either somebody came through here or they came to the door. I don't really know, but we were missing like.
Cop's drunk girlfriend humiliates him in front of.
Attorney tells this person that 300 pesos stolen.
Entire law
That's not a lot.
department.
Most
Oh
currencies are
no.
$5, but it is significant in an impoverished country like that. And a question that has to be asked with what we're talking about right now is, was Eastman careful when it came to protecting his money? Or staying quiet about how much he might have at any given time? Now, as part of his live streams, Eastman often answered questions from people in the chat, and when one person mentioned...
Yo, how you doing? Morning, Piper. You probably get asked a lot, but what's the meaning behind the Ray Cheek tattoo? It's, just, there's a lot of different meanings. Like, I have, like, 3 different meanings behind it. One, I've lost, like, 12 family members in, oh my god, like, 7 years. Maybe 8. It's been, I don't know. I'd have to, I can't remember the year she passed. It was either 2015 or 2016. Oh, on one of them. But yeah, I don't know about the rest. It's been a hot minute. One is Lil Peep because it was a Lil Peep tattoo and he passed. And then, yeah. 3, I won't say the 3rd reason. Just depression. But yeah. I mean, depression's not why I got it. Don't get me wrong. It's just the reason's kind of depressing. I just came back from the dentist. It's so painful. Oh my god, I know. I fucking hate going to the dentist.
I don't really know, like, what would happen if somebody did come try, like, somebody did try to come here and kidnap me, right? Would the neighbors help me, or would they just sit there and watch? Because it's gotten to the point where I've been here for so long that people are, like, have become normalized.
Thank you for sharing the hearts, but could you please not spam the chat?
I just don't know. Like, I get used to it, you know?
Hey, Axe, next time, just tell him before timing him out. And then if he does it again, time him out. Since he's not, like, being rude or anything, you know. He's just giving hearts, so.
Went live for the last time on his YouTube page. And if you look at the video,
Yeah, just warn him first, you know. It's hard out here, Ash, but good to see you chilling. Yeah, it's definitely hard, dude. It's always difficult. Sometimes they're harder than others, and I know that for a fact right now. Life, bro.
Some parts he likes, parts he doesn't.
I'm just getting tired of, like, being around all the same people.
Eastman logged off after about 20 minutes.
You don't have to hold it for 30 seconds, bro. You only have to hold it for like 7 seconds. From the minute you start to inhale. You don't... I can't hit it on camera, bro. My favorite. You gotta chill. I do things how I do them for a reason, bro.
He tried to run away. He was shot in the leg with a rifle.
Damn, bro.
Dragged him to a white boat and headed out to sea. He hasn't been seen since.
Dragged him out to fucking sea. He's gone.
Told the New York Times that they spoke to a relative of one of the suspects who revealed that actually Eastman had been shot twice, once in the leg, once in the torso. When the alleged kidnappers got to the boat, they realized Eastman had died. So this
How do they know? Oh,
apparently told police that they put his body in the water. Hey, by the way, before we go any further, I have to thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring today's Law and Crime YouTube takeover. Here's the truth. One of the most unpredictable things in life is if you get injured. That comes out of nowhere. And
hello.
America's largest injury law.
I don't know. Something ass. He said something ass. That's all I know. Take a deep breath and do it. Oh my god.
They have a proven track record of winning big. Recently, they secured verdicts of $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philadelphia, $6.8 million in New York, all far exceeding insurance offers in these cases. And even if your case isn't worth 7 figures, why not start a claim and get the money you deserve? And starting a claim is so easy. It takes 8 clicks or less. It can be done right from your smartphone, and it's free unless you win. So if you're hurt, visit forthepeople.com/YouTube takeover or click the link in the description and pinned in the comments. Now, because Eastman's body has never been found, police say it's difficult to prove whether what the witness is saying is true or not. There had been hope that perhaps Eastman was, being held somewhere, maybe for ransom. The FBI has even reportedly joined the search for him. This is according to outlets like The Sun. Then a few weeks after the abduction, Police got into a shootout with multiple suspects. Authorities say 3 suspects were killed. Eventually, 1 suspect has been taken into custody. That's based on reporting. And this person reportedly corroborated what that witness had told police, saying that one of the men dumped Eastman overboard. Lieutenant Colonel with the National Police told the Associated Press, "We are constrained to believe that he has died. All of the information that we have points to that." And according to the Daily Mail, a former mayor of the region told reporters that the kidnappers may have targeted Eastman because they believed him to be a rich American with lots of money. They may have also resented a foreigner living with a local Muslim woman, meaning his wife. And by the way, the suspect who's in custody apparently gave a sworn statement. It was handed over to prosecutors. And the police say Eastman's family back in the United States, they were notified of the 26-year-old's likely death by the U.S. Embassy. I want to talk about this more.
Damn. So he's probably gone, right?
I really appreciate it. What do you make of police saying?
This is how I'm gonna start doing true crime, guys. We're just gonna watch stuff and talk about it, and then I'm gonna start doing actual cases.
Make that announcement without the body is pretty significant.
Like, we're gonna find someone we actually like, and then we're gonna start doing them and watching trials and shit. It's gonna be cool.
Witness statements, and maybe one of the kidnappers that was involved in this giving us a sworn statement as well. You come to a logical conclusion of his death, and you owe it to the family of this young man to give them the information of his possible death. And it's sad and it's tragic, you know, especially
oh my god, bro.
run the risk of resentment, like you said, with his wife and other things. You know, no matter what your status is in
That's
the United
obnoxious
States,
as
when you're in a
fuck.
foreign country, especially one like this,
Homie was kicked out for sure. Yeah. I'm looking for another video because this is basically over. I'm not showing. Does Law and Crime Network do copyright?
And we have the responsibility, or the FBI has the responsibility of taking care
I don't know,
of
guys.
citizens, even on foreign soil.
Probably.
So they can run the investigation through the U.S. Embassy.
I'm just gonna keep talking during it. It's definitely the copyright law, which is the like fair use. So yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna get fair use. Or use fair use, not get fair use. I can hear. You can probably hear the TV in there. That's the living room you hear, though. Oh my god, my eye. I just leave the TV on for background noise in the house. It feels lonely if it's quiet when my kid's sleeping. What happened to the news? Oh, I'm looking for a new one. Sorry, I just stopped that one. I was over it. We'll go back to long crime. Go in there now. The superstition. Okay, no. Okay, my phone is plugged in, just making sure. Let's see. Man shot wife and dog so he could run off with his new lover. Wow. We'll watch that one. Wow, goth. Yeah. Wow. Not goth. I mean, kind of, I guess. I don't know.
Both his wife and their beloved dog.
And the dog.
So he could just, be with his new girlfriend.
He couldn't have just taken the dog. I mean, and divorced her. He had to kill the dog and his wife.
Speck's Facebook and Instagram pages, 10 years ago, you would see happy,
10 years ago.
loving couple that doted on their pets, especially a Labrador named Bailey May. You would think everything's okay. And authorities say behind that social media facade was a soon-to-be killer. And that is because on June 5th, 2020, around 5 in the morning, now 37-year-old Matthew Speck shot and killed Caitlin while she was asleep in bed.
Damn.
In South Carolina home. And to make matters even worse, he then hunted down their dog, Bailey May, and killed her too.
What the fuck?
Now, how did he try to cover this up, right? Well, police say he shot himself in the arm and torso, creating these superficial wounds, to try to make it look like he was the victim of a home invasion. That's what he ended up telling police. And after an investigation that included a 5-hour interview with Matthew Speck at the Hanahan Police Department, Speck was arrested and charged with murder, ill treatment of animals, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. He ended up being released on a $300,000 cash bond. He was subject to house arrest, GPS monitoring. According to the court, he actually lived with his parents while he was waiting for trial. And he was allowed to leave for work, to go to doctor's appointments, to attend church, but he couldn't have any contact with Caitlin's side of the family. By the way, we also checked out Matthew Garrett Speck on TruthFinder, the powerful background checker that we use when we're researching our stories. All we had to do was put in his name and where he lives, and his information popped right up. And under criminal history, we were able to see the counts he was charged with back in June of 2020, including murder. By the way, Law and Crime, we partner with TruthFinder. We use it to get details of people that are involved in our stories. But look, even if you
That's good. Listening to some true crime stuff. This guy shot his wife and their dog so he could go off with another woman and himself. Okay, he even shot himself in the arm to make it look like, yeah, somebody broke in or whatever.
So what ends up happening now is Speck goes to trial in November last month. And as you probably guessed, the evidence against him was substantial.
He sounded like he was going to trial.
Speck was having an affair. His girlfriend actually testified in the trial that he told her he was going to divorce his wife so the two of them could move away and start a new life together. Does that sound like so many of the cases that we cover? I'll tell you what, even a former co-worker also testified that Speck complained about his marriage. And evidence showed that before Speck shot Caitlin, he actually researched other ways of seemingly killing her, Googling keywords like homicidal strangulation, choking death, cyanide poisoning. Well, after a week long trial, the jury found Speck guilty on all counts. The circuit court judge sentenced Mr. Speck to life in prison without parole for the murder charge, plus 5 years for the ill treatment of animals, and 5 years for possession of a weapon during a violent crime. The sentences will all run concurrently.
And that's what happens when you kill your wife and your dog.
Never get out of prison. According to the Berkeley County, South Carolina court website, Speck is now appealing his conviction. I want to talk about this more.
Appealing? Wow.
Tyler, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate you taking
What
the
a
time.
dick.
Of course. Thank you.
So, I don't want to sound heartless, but you know what one of our first reaction was?
That's wild. Yeah.
Just get a divorce. How many
Yeah,
cases
why not just get a
covered
fucking
where you
divorce?
have spouse-on-spouse
It's not,
violence,
why is that,
partner-on-partner violence, and
you
just
have to
wonder,
be,
why did they
you have
break
to be
up? Why
filled
did
with
they
such
get divorced?
hatred
Why is
and
that?
just such malice and just, like, be such a fucking shitty person with just no disregard or no care for anybody.
I don't know why spouses just won't get divorced. You do not have to kill your wife.
Or no regard, sorry, not no disregard. I realize I just said disregard. But you have to literally just be a fucking psychopath, okay? Basically. Maybe not a psychopath for in all cases, but like this guy. Like, it's fucking stupid.
Situation. Oh, it was just a spur of the moment thing. It just happened immediately. I'll be honest, I don't know what his defense was at trial. There's not a lot of reporting on it, but it seems, I always wonder this. Do they think it's less messy than getting a divorce? You know, it's very expensive. It can be really a financial hardship. It's, you look like the bad guy. I don't know. I don't know what makes them think that committing a murder and staging the scene to look like a home invasion
You're welcome.
would be a better option for them. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, if you think about it, the
You're
legal costs
welcome,
associated with
Jordan.
divorce,
That's funny as
even
fuck.
if there's no prenup, right?
I'm glad I can help.
Property, I mean, you're gonna take a loss and split your
That's
property.
fucking
But
funny.
if you are charged with
Hang on,
murder,
guys.
hire a high-powered defense lawyer, you're going to pay a high bond to get out of jail. It really doesn't even make financial sense, especially in situations where, especially the victim here, Caitlin, she seems like a sweet woman. They love their dog. There's nothing that came out to show that there was any malice between the spouses outside of Matthew wanting to move on. And
Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Just fucking move on. Yeah, he said, do you really have to kill the dog too? Like, do you? Because, like, that's fucking stupid. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. He did not have to kill that dog.
A German Shepherd or a Pit Bull. So even if there was a home invasion with a Labrador Retriever, the likelihood of somebody breaking the house, getting that dog off of him without having
Nobody's gonna kill the dog.
Is greater. You know, just push the dog away. If you're trying to rob the place, you'll get what you're trying to need.
Like Brian Kohlberger in the Idaho fort. He didn't even fucking kill the dog. He just put the dog. And he brutally, like, slabbed and slashed 4 people to death. He let the dog fucking live. He just shut it in another room.
I'll get to that evidence in a second. I am curious about something.
You've got to be like a whole different. I mean, given that's fucked too, but like it's all fucked, you know? And especially like, just fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't know.
Is that typical?
Not the dog, bro. Exactly. They're so loyal. They're so. I don't know. Literally no sins. They're animals, you know. Type shit. And I just mean like morality. They don't even need morality, and they love with morals. Like, you know.
Internet searches was not something that the judge or court would have considered. They would look at his ties to the community. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Family ties he could live with, his employment.
Like he could have taken the dog and got a divorce. Like, boom, bam, you get the best of both worlds, buddy, go off. Like, and you get your dog. Or he could have left the dog if he didn't even like the dog. Clearly he didn't.
But I could see there being a justification in the early stages for him getting a bond.
Thank God they didn't have kids, bro. Damn, can you imagine that? Be fucking Chris Watts 2.0.
I don't have evidence to suggest he would. That'll be the last time he ever is out. Out of prison.
And the woman testified like that he cheated on her with.
Evidence that stood out to you the most from the prosecution's case?
You know, the biggest evidence that stood out to me was the internet searches of methods of committing a murder. I think that he may have had a chance,
especially if you know they died that way.
Theory, if there was not any evidence that he was actually.
I mean, if not, even that's bad. That's still bad enough, you know.
The logical step would be his wife, and I'm pretty sure, you know, this 5-hour interrogation that was crawled through by the prosecution and their direct and prosecuting Mr. Speck was damning evidence.
Guys, make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen.
Internet searches in conjunction.
So damn gorgeous. Thank you, Cedric. You're very sweet. Very nice of you. Oh my lord, I hate this game. You'll beat it and you'll be like, I miss playing Outlast.
They can determine whether or not a wound is self-inflicted or someone shot you, right, based on the direction of the bullet and the distance. And
exactly.
You know, they're able to determine. I think stippling is a big issue as well.
The average person sees around 10,000 online ads daily. Here's how a man's life would change if he used Pi. Day 1, he would install Pi on his computer without
all right, that's pretty easy to determine whether or not something is self-inflicted if he's trying to.
Yeah, for sure.
He was the victim as well.
Yeah, very true. And with forensic evidence, it could change the home invasion theory now.
Sorry, y'all, that was painful for me.
What are the chances that the suspect would also
well, it was like
searching on Google
getting, I don't know, it's like getting stabbed.
Or strangulation.
Oh, that's just coincidence. That's just coincidence. Didn't you know?
Yeah, that would be some coincidence. I think that's really what did it. I believe the jury probably saw this case between the forensic evidence, the girlfriend's testimony, the co-worker's testimony regarding the complaints about his wife, and then how can I kill somebody by cyanide poison or strangulation? It was over for him.
Don't you find it interesting that sometimes the cases with stage scenes or cover-ups, they sometimes reveal the biggest clues, they leave behind the most evidence? It's ironic, right? You're trying to cover it up and not get caught, but that leaves a bigger trail of evidentiary clues than anything else.
At all times, it seems like that. I mean, it seems like we've heard this case countless times over and over again.
Okay.
I mean, between the,
I have a mod menu, so that helps. Yeah, that does help.
Cell phones that are on you, it's common for people to go to their phone to search something.
Ooh, I'm getting more,
That leaves a record.
like, less red. Oh, it's not red. No wonder. I was like, oh my god, I actually don't look red today.
What was... I haven't seen any reporting on
Never
this. We
mind.
tried to look
Take it
for
all back.
What his defense might have been, I don't know. What could it have been?
Does this show path feature helps? Yeah, for sure.
With the limited facts that we have, the best defense he would have had is leaning into the home invasion, saying that yes,
The show path feature always helps in games.
There's nobody else in there. The only thing that you have is internet search saying that I was looking at messages that possibly killed somebody, but there's no direct evidence of that. He was shot. I mean, they could say what person would shoot himself in the arm and torso. And this is his dog that he loved. Why would he kill his dog and his wife? There's no other evidence. Yeah, he had a girlfriend, but does that mean he wanted to kill his wife? I think that's the only defense that you can make. But the problem is that is just trying to convince the jury that the Mona Lisa.
What the fuck? Video shows Predator.
So this girlfriend not your daughter? Okay.
Video shows Predator posing as 14-year-old girl to have with teens. Prosecutor. What the fuck?
Have you contacted your parents?
That's Alyssa Zinger, a former grocery store bakery worker sitting in a holding area with her teenage boyfriend. The problem? She was 21 and the boy was 13.
They have to do their job.
Are you wrong?
It's their job to do. We'll explain everything that's going on in there. I know they want.
Yeah, I don't even want to watch that. Let's just not. I like murder stuff. Not that kind of thing. The title was just crazy. I don't even need my night vision. That's what's up. It is crazy. Yo, Dolly Vision's live. Why don't we watch him?
In Hendersonville. So
His voice is funny,
why
but
wouldn't you show me this video, somebody that could actually be of assistance? And that's why I thought it was bullcrap. I was like, this is bullcrap.
well, at least listen to it.
I was wrong, and they were right. They were actually showing a video. So my apologies.
Wait, you guys think he'll copyright me? He really might. I'm not showing it, but you can hear it. And I think that's enough, right? For copyright claims. If I go live, you watch me for sure. I'll come watch you. Hi, my name is Kat. What's up, Kat? Yeah, let's not watch. Yeah, we're just not gonna do all that. I think that's probably not a good idea. But anyways, we'll watch a different kind of video, like newsy videos. Look out. Thing is, I killed the enemy. Get it? What the fuck? I'm definitely not. Fuck the elites. Not at all. Let's find another. Ooh, maybe we should watch Swoop. Guys, let's watch Swoop. She does these documentaries, and I love Swoop. She's good. You guys will like her. If you haven't heard of Swoop, you'll like Swoop.
I want to be clear. I was a part of
It's about Gypsy Rose.
And I think that is what people need to like really remember. So I paid my dues. I did my time for my part of things. Now let me live my life and just grow as a person. Everybody deserves a second chance.
Okay, let's talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
I am about ready to get ready for a photo shoot. I know.
This will be interesting.
I paid my consequences. I'm living my best life, and y'all can't think
Too bad you guys can't watch it.
The entire Gypsy Rose story may have been a lie.
She taught me how to be a good liar.
If I say something that a normal husband would say, then I'm like controlling her, I'm like her mother. She's not pregnant for everybody who keeps asking. We're just hanging out as friends, that's all it is.
This is absolutely 100% Ken's baby. I understand that I broke Brian's heart. I left the marriage. I was not a good wife. Half of everybody still wants to condemn me, and the other half is rooting for me.
Have you ever been manipulated by someone you trusted? How did that make you feel? What if they had been manipulated by someone they trusted? Would that make you feel any different? Yes? No? Imagine waking up one day feeling isolated. It's one of those freezing, overcast, dreary kind of days, and you open up TikTok, which
She's
feels
so
like your
good.
only
Swoop
connection
is
to
such
the
a good
outside world,
person with
and suddenly, a
documentaries.
familiar face flashes across your screen, and it's your former best friend, the one who, in your mind, betrayed you so deeply you feel like
Hey,
you
Stephanie,
lost
good to
years
see
of your
you.
life, kind of lost in the frustration and the pain that it caused you. Except while you're here, cold and all alone, your friend is now a glamorous celebrity, sipping wine, extravagant dinners, and taking selfies with Kim Kardashian. She's having the best time ever while you're having the worst. And so your frustration turns to anger. This is messed up. You think, why does
She just has a voice
smile
for
while
videos
you're
and
just another
podcasts and
forgotten
shit.
person? But what if behind the glossy Hollywood cover spreads, the fancy premieres and adoring fans, what if behind your former friend's smile was also pain, frustration, misery? Except for your ex-bestie, the entire world is watching and weighing in on it. What if the world who once adored her was now turning on her? How would that make you feel? Good? Bad? Nothing at all? This is the twisted reality of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's life after prison, and wow, has it changed over the last year. We all know the story, right? Deception, murder, betrayal, and instant celebrity. But the story doesn't end there. Brace yourself. This one is both intense and a little unhinged. And this is
Exciting.
what we know.
Okay, you guys have to keep talking in chat though, because yeah, you just gotta keep talking.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard has officially been out of
I'm not trying to get copyright.
She was released on December 28th, 2023, and it has been a wild ride ever since.
I hope everybody's having a good morning.
Part 1 doc on her ongoing story closer to when she was released, but in case you haven't, I highly recommend that you check it out. We dive really deep into her case, her release, some addressed allegations,
maybe I did watch
evidence
this.
that's often overlooked, and hear a lot more from Nick Godejohn, her ex-boyfriend, who is still serving a life sentence without parole for his part in the murder of Gypsy Rose's mother, Nene Blanchard. I also conducted several
interesting.
interviews with many of you who have been diagnosed with either ASD or DID, as well as mental health professionals, to get your insight into how you felt about cases that focus, at least part of their defense, on those types of diagnoses. So, why are we talking about Gypsy Rose again? Well, things have gotten volatile. When she was released, a huge percentage of the internet
I thought so too.
And now a lot of the internet has turned on Gypsy Rose. There's a wild new conspiracy theories, unhinged Hollywood drama, TikTok accusations that she somehow faked everything, and a baby bump. It's an absolute shite show and perfect for reality TV.
Hi, I'm Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and this is my first In-N-Out burger ever. I got a double-double.
Who cares, bro?
They're a little skinny. And as you can see, I'm nothing but skinny.
Now, speaking frankly, my opinion of the story hasn't really changed from my part one. There's a
I don't
lot
like her.
about the story I greatly empathize with. There's also a lot that troubles me. I personally am not a fan of Gypsy Rose being a celebrity. I don't follow her
Me
on
either.
socials. I probably never will, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, I think she went through some heinous stuff, allegedly. I think she did some heinous stuff that she was convicted of, and I think Hollywood is weird as shocking. And I wonder how much of this turn of public opinion is because of Gypsy Rose herself and her crimes, and how much of it is legitimate manipulation, either from her, if any, or from something or someone else.
Interesting.
What's the matter? Batteries are all the same. Incorrect. Only Duracell is built different with power boost ingredients.
But first, oh hi, hello, hi, it's my face again, Swoop. If you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. My name is Swoop, and I'm a documentary filmmaker, commentator.
Guys, everybody go sub up to
Swoop
Swoop.
docs on unsolved cases,
This is what she looks
true
like.
crime, and social media influencers
She's
who abuse their
amazing.
power and manipulate audiences. Because, as I always say it with me, it's not drama, it's dangerous. We also dig deeper into perspectives, play devil's advocate, and sometimes we take it to Petty University. Yes, because petty is my coping mechanism for the BS in life.
She's awesome.
Have you all enrolled? Class is in session. And friends, I am so very excited to finally be able to announce our brand new apparel release, the Unbroken Collection.
Those hoodies are dope.
Look it. Wait, let me show the back. I love this so much. This is a sister
That is pretty
to
cool.
the Valid Ribcage collection. I have been working so hard on this, and you can grab your pieces right now in the Petty University shop, linked below. And right now, I'm having a huge Black Friday sale for a limited time where you can
I hope you guys are all having a good day. Don't forget to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap.
/swoop. I'll show you the design real quick, and then I'll give a little explanation for the story behind it. On the front, we have the word Unbroken, and we have these.
And go subscribe to Swoop because she's fucking awesome.
And then on the back,
She makes good documentaries.
Unbroken. And then there are these steps that are leading up to this opening with this bird that's taking flight, and it's kind of like moving from this darkness into this place of light here. So let me explain the design now.
She covers like YouTubers, TikTokers. She's done a lot of different shit.
Climbing towards healing and happiness, just to like, bam, like get knocked down once again and fall all the way back down. And so I took some time off. It was kind of like you just like reevaluate like your whole life. I had listened to this old song that I wrote forever ago called Free. Now, I never released the song, but it was in one of my films. And I wrote the song because back then I was feeling broken. And so here I was now, years later, feeling the same. Like I had kind of made like zero progress.
Do I have any mods still here? Or did you guys leave already?
In hard times, somehow, we keep going. We get back up those steps. We start climbing all over again, because as I've come to learn, what I thought was brokenness was just
I got you. I'll watch them.
Fear that was ready to take flight and find its purpose, and that we are, in fact, unbroken. And so these are just honestly like a piece of me. It's an extension of just how I was feeling. For me, a part of getting back on those steps is being creative. So I am so freaking excited about this collection. The left sleeve have these beautiful birds that kind of broke free and are flying up the arm. And this is the first time that I've ever designed a piece with print on the arm. On the front, they have the word Unbroken in my signature font. If you look closely, there's a ghosted cutout of a bird, and I am just so in love with that detail.
Guys, I hate that fucking I like my suitcase trend. I fucking hate it. My whole page is filled with I like my suitcase fucking Barron Trump.
With all of you, and something that I hope you tell yourself. So I will read them really quick. I'm free, unbroken. Yes, I'm chosen. Sleep awoken. It's my moment. Fighting, climbing, live not dying. I'll be flying high. So this is a limited edition collection, and there are just
That's kind of a dope hoodie. I like that.
Colorways. We have this beautiful lavender sky and this gorgeous cloud black. The lavender sky is officially the softest hoodie that we have ever had. It is our premium heavyweight, so it is a touch thicker, even cozier, and so plush. And then we have the Black Cloud, and I just love this so much. This is 100% cotton, and just like the Valid and Suspool collections, each hoodie receives a custom mineral wash, making each hoodie a one-of-a-kind work of art. And this one has the most beautiful cloud aesthetic. It's like the birds are literally flying.
I love this. This is all just her talking about her.
With this. I also just released the Valid ribcage in a brand new, beautiful vintage, most incredible active noise cancellation. It is such a
Oh my god.
There's a chill in the air.
There we go.
Dusting of snow on
We're
the ground
back.
in Chillicothe, Missouri, and a blanket of stars spans the dark early skies. It's December 28th, just 3 days after Christmas, and as the heavy-duty chain link fence retracts, Gypsy Rose Blanchard takes a deep breath, leaving the Chillicothe Correctional Institute and taking her first steps as a free woman, walking straight into the waiting arms of her then-husband, Ryan Anderson, or should I say, into the passenger seat of his idling sedan.
Oh, it feels so weird being in a car.
Yeah, touch your leg. Oh, I missed you.
I miss you too.
We'll get into that, but first,
She does suck.
Because one of the main issues the public has is about her former boyfriend, Nick Godejohn, who says that she planned the murder of her mother and needed him to save her.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Do we need a very crude crash course on the backstory? Does that help? Okay, so Gypsy Rose Blanchard, here's the cheat code. She's now infamous thanks to a television series about her stranger-than-fiction upbringing, which involved her allegedly abusive
Thank you,
mother,
Kat. You're so
Blanchard,
sweet.
insisting that Gypsy had severe disabilities, including things like cancer, blindness, and allegedly forcing Gypsy Rose to pretend she couldn't walk. And yes, I have to use the words like allegedly for legal reasons. You all know that because some people are contesting some of the claims. Does that mean I believe the contesting of the claims? No, it doesn't. But bottom line, Gypsy Rose's heartbreaking story of deceptive childhood illness and medical bills were used to swindle people out of money, getting free trips from things like Make-A-Wish Foundation, a new house from Habitat for Humanity, and generally receiving charity from their trusting friends and neighbors. Except
That shit is sad, though. What she went through as a kid was sad, but she shouldn't be a celebrity.
This alleged condition, known as fictitious disorder, imposed on another, aka Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which most people still refer to it that way, so we'll
Thank you,
refer to it
Kat.
that way, but, quote, is a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behavior by a caregiver through those who are in their care. MSPB is a relatively rare behavioral disorder. It affects a primary caretaker, often the mother. The person with MSP gains attention by seeking medical help for exaggerated or made-up symptoms of a child in their care. As healthcare providers strive to identify what's causing the child's symptoms, the deliberate actions of the parent or caretaker can often make the symptoms worse. And so Gypsy had grown tired of this ruse when she started kind of putting some puzzle pieces together, to say the least. And her mother had infantilized her for long enough, and that led to an eventual rebellion. After managing to, get a laptop and sneak some social media on there, Gypsy Rose joined online dating websites and chat rooms where, for the first time, she was able to pursue romance. And it was there she found her Prince Charming in the form of a young man named Nicholas Godejohn. Away from the prying eyes of her mother, Gypsy Rose was finally discovering herself and realizing the life her mother had kept from her. And as you all likely know, long story short, Gypsy Rose asked Nick to help her be free of her mother for good. Again, I cover this in full detail in part 1 if you want, all of the details.
Yeah.
But Nick showed up at Gypsy Rose's and Dee Dee's house and took her mother's life. And while Gypsy Rose technically didn't physically do the kill, as she refers to it, the act, she planned the act with Nick, helped get the weapon, and gave Nick access to the house, and was there when it happened, allegedly shaving her legs at some point.
I don't associate myself as a murderer because if you think about it, yes, I had a part to play in it. I asked Nick for help. So when they say I'm a murderer, I don't identify as that.
Now there are a ton.
I don't identify as a murderer.
What actually went down that night, with a large part of the internet more recently believing that Gypsy Rose perhaps did indeed participate in the act. There isn't clear-cut evidence to support that theory, but we're not here to debate all of that. I honestly think at the end of the day, no one but Gypsy Rose and Nick will ever know exactly what happened.
True.
Play by play, and even then, who knows what their memories are like.
Oh, I can't wait.
The went on the run together, but they didn't get far, and the police quickly tracked them down and arrested them, where the shocking truth was revealed. Gypsy Rose was not a sickly child, but a full-grown adult woman, at least in the physical sense, who had been manipulated by her mother, allegedly, into keeping up.
Why is your heart been murdered? The fuck?
The shittiest scenario you could possibly imagine from literally every angle of this case. Like, no matter whose side you might be on and for what reason, it's all a nasty nightmare of a story. Now, Gypsy Rose pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. She took a plea and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while Nicholas was sentenced to life without parole. Now, like I said this before, it's really important to remember that every state handles cases differently, and his trial happened to be in a state where you either get, like, the death penalty, or you get out, or you get life without parole. There is no life with parole. So that is a factor in why his sentencing is that. It may have been different if the trial were in a different state. I just think that's important to remember. And many people have a problem with him spending the rest of
That doesn't sound good. That sounds very weird.
Oh my god.
It sounds a little racist, Maxie.
Now, Nick is a convicted murderer. So is Gypsy Rose, but Gypsy Rose says that she doesn't identify as a murderer. But while he is, rotting away behind bars, Gypsy Rose is still walking amongst us as a free woman, having legally served her time. And also, according to the people's serving in general,
Right.
Thanks to TikTok and social media, Gypsy Rose has become something of a pop culture icon. I don't like using that word, but people do. And not to mention the fact
Yeah,
that
she's no fucking icon.
Convicted of second-degree murder, starred in a Lifetime reality series. And that's not all. She's now a full-blown influencer and a second-degree. So, life is interesting, and the lines got a little blurry, because if you were to ask Gypsy Rose...
But he's the one that did the actual kill, not me. I can't kill anyone. That's why he's in trouble to begin with, because he's the one that did it. So when they say I'm a murderer, I don't identify as that.
And to be fair, she's also a survivor of incredibly twisted, generational abuse. Allegedly, her grandmother abused her mother, Dee Dee. Then Dee Dee allegedly murdered her own mother, and then allegedly also murdered her stepmother, then allegedly abused Gypsy Rose, and Gypsy Rose planned and enabled the murder of her own mother. The only thing I don't have to say allegedly to, because she pleaded guilty to it. And this is one of the reasons why people are so worried. Not just because Gypsy Rose has never had a chance to live a normal life, my gosh.
Her waist is
Earlier
always
this
annoying.
year, Gypsy Rose revealed that she is pregnant with her first child, and she is due very, very soon. And people are asking...
Yeah, the Juice WRLD album is pretty good.
Generational abuse in the Blanchard women family history, and obviously the grandfather too. Could that somehow continue on? Much of it's speculative, some of it's BS. We're gonna break it down.
My wife, yes. She taught me how to be a good liar. A very good liar without any conscience.
Okay, so class, crash course done. Back to the Nick of it all. So I know there are a ton of opinions about Gypsy Rose and Nick, and so we're going to do what we always do in Swoop Doc and look at multiple perspectives. I'm not saying one is more right than the other. I have opinions, I'm sure you have opinions, but this is where people were on one side, and now some of them, after time has gone by, have changed their perspective, and you are allowed to change your opinions. So we're going to play devil's advocate. We do this a lot in Swoop Doc.
This is fun, guys. I just wish we had more people here to talk.
I swear, Your Honor, I'm a different person than I was last week. So, point one. Nick is rotting away in prison while Gypsy Rose gets to have a turkey dinner and open presents around the tree, even though they're both murderers. Counterpoint, isn't that only fair? After the childhood she's endured and the violence that he committed, both against her mother and allegedly against her right after. Leave your thoughts so far in the comments and let me know as we move through this if your opinion of Gypsy Rose or this case or anything has changed since she first got out, because I would love to know. As time goes on, Gypsy Rose has continued to distance herself from the crime and underscore Nick as the main perpetrator. A lot of people had issues with that. I felt a little strange about it. And now that Gypsy Rose is constantly in the spotlight, it drags Nick's name up along with her quite a bit, right?
Due to all the publicity Gypsy's getting, and she's getting me that publicity too, I feel like I have a responsibility.
Ashley not playing Slipknot. Slipknot is
looked back
offensive.
since almost kind of the minute that she and Nick were caught. The police detective, when speaking to Nick's mother, even said, you know, that Gypsy took like a little bit of accountability, but like not really, just kind of put it all on Nick.
You know, I know that we both probably have a lot of regrets. I know I have regrets. I can't speak for him, so I really don't know his side of things. All I know is, you know, I did my time. He's doing his time.
She's not wrong.
I can do at this
She did
point.
do
Like,
her
for
time.
me, I have to focus on myself right now. I can't look in the past and worry about him or anything else going on. I have to prioritize myself in this moment.
And the longer that she's been out, the more central blame she has at times. Not always, okay, to be fair, not always, but sometimes she put a lot of the blame on Nick, which is
It's
a
bad,
choice.
yeah,
I
I
don't
hate
have
it.
any feelings for him. He is my ex, he is my past, and I do regret meeting him. Had I met a real man who I confided
He's
in
my
about
ex,
making
not
out
his
from under
mom's
my mother's
killer,
grasp,
or her
I would
mom's
not
killer.
be sitting in prison right now. A real man would have called the authorities to get me away from her. I take my responsibility for my part of the crime, but he played the bigger part.
I can't kill anyone. That's why he's in trouble to begin with, because he's the one that did it.
It's been interesting to
Right.
watch the shifting tides against
She's
Gypsy
crazy,
Rose.
bro.
It's as if, you know, kind of the more celebrity she gains, the more resentment the public has for her, particularly over the drastic
Yeah, what's
differences
good?
between
What's
her
good,
and Nick's
Bradley?
sentences. And some of this, I think,
It really
there's
is,
a
and her
delicate
voice is a
balance with
headache.
instant celebrity where you can very quickly overstay your welcome.
5 days.
Yeah, she does it. She overstays her welcome.
5 days were the most intense and magical and inspiring days I've ever had.
Nick describes Gypsy Rose as the love of his life. You know, at the time, and even like 4 years after in prison, he was saying things like this because of what she asked him and made him do. Now, in my opinion, there's no excuse for Nick's actions in the crime. They were clearly violent and
True.
disturbing. But there's been some new speculation about the motive behind the crime and if Gypsy Rose was possibly capable of manipulating Nick more than previously thought.
Gypsy really pulled at Nicholas's heartstrings. She wanted his sympathy. She wanted him to know just how much she was suffering and how much she needed him to save her.
But again, remember I've been saying the internet turning against Gypsy Rose? Well, many people who once thought Gypsy Rose was purely a victim of her mother and that's it, are now saying that they think she had spent her entire life manipulating.
Yeah, the
people
fame around
and
it's terrible.
subconsciously, but that at some point Gypsy
It shows
Rose
what kind of
knew
person
that
she
the
is,
illnesses
but
that
I mean,
he invented for her weren't
she's her
real,
mother's
and
daughter,
she
you know?
intentionally went
Her
along
mom was
with
the
it
same
for
way. She liked
intention.
the
It is a big claim
notoriety
that
and
Gypsy
the
Rose
fame
knew she
for
could
her
walk
daughter being a
through, she could
sick
eat
kid.
food without the tube and so on. So in that perspective,
Now her daughter
is
likes
when
the
it comes to
fame.
deception and
Shocker,
manipulation,
shocker.
as Gypsy Rose said
For being a
herself
murderer.
in
I'm so
an
shocked,
interview,
you know?
She learned how to manipulate, how to lie.
She's even worse than her
without
mom.
thinking about it,
I don't know, they're both
remorse
bad
from
things.
her
I don't
mother.
know.
My life, yes. She taught me how to be a good liar. A very good liar without any conscience.
That's her
If it was an
talking more
intentional,
childlike.
conscious choice, then Gypsy
No,
Rose
she's
likely
her voice is deeper
manipulated
and
a
shit.
vulnerable person into taking the fall,
That's still
aka
bad. Probably runs down in the
John.
family. Yeah,
And
that's
in
what they
looking
say.
at their text
They say her
messages,
mom
we'll
killed
get
her
into,
mom
again, more
and
in part one.
killed
There's a lot of
her
what looks
stepmom.
like alleged
Allegedly.
manipulation going on.
I had to say
On
that
the counterpoint,
for my own
that's
ass.
assuming Gypsy Rose was of the clear
So who
mental
knows?
capacity to
Truly.
even know that what she was doing was manipulation. Does that fairly take into consideration that for much of her developmental years, she was physically and emotionally manipulated by her mother? And if that was going on, how, like, would she know that her actions towards Nick were manipulative and wrong? But she also knew that it was wrong to murder because they were keeping it secret. It's just, y'all gonna have to ask mental health professionals about that, honey. And even then, I don't know if there's a clear answer. I think it's just a whole mess. I think it's very, very complicated and one of those things that no one's ever gonna be satisfied with whatever the answer is because it's just a tragedy, period. Now, another point. Should we expect the present day grown-up Gypsy Rose, who spent 8-some years in prison, she went straight from that house to prison, essentially, should we expect her to know how to process and behave out of prison? She's had 8 going on 9 years away from that world of her mother.
She was a
That's
kid.
a long period of time to, like, be a little separated, right? And it's also a very short period of time.
I'm trying to be a good person now. I don't want to be like my mother, and I'm nothing like her.
And then, if you want to get really
She
meta
is.
on the devil's advocate side, is it possible that Gypsy Rose not only subconsciously learned how to manipulate people by observing her mother, which was kind of against her will, but it's subconscious? Could she then have also learned how to further manipulate people from being exposed to actual criminals in prison? Where do we draw the line? It's a mind bender, right? Again, she spent a lot of time in
I saw
prison
that. I saw
around
Debbie
other
died.
people who presumably did
She had
things
lung,
that went
like
bad.
lung cancer.
So are all of the people in prison just great, wonderful human beings who have the utmost honesty and truth in their behavior? Probably not. I'm sure there's good people in there, and I'm sure there's quite terrible people in there. So,
And Eminem has a song that goes,
and I keep coming back to this.
Haley's beautiful, you should
Nick.
see
I think
her.
we have to be careful not
But
to
you won't even meet her.
infantilize Gypsy Rose. I
Or,
see
but you
a
won't,
lot
or
of that
something.
going on. People
She won't
saying,
even
you know,
be at
she's
your
just a little
funeral.
girl
And
released
it's like,
from prison, straight from the trauma of her mom. But that's not entirely the scenario
That's rough.
either, right? I'm not talking about the trauma part, but she's not a little girl. Yes,
Play that.
she likely had
Just kidding.
significant impacts
I
to her
can't.
developing brain as a child.
Long
And
live
I'm
Juice
not a
WRLD.
psychologist,
Yes,
so I won't
always.
speculate. But to be accurate,
Yeah.
again, Gypsy Rose did spend 8 years in prison in a structured adult environment with access to therapists, friends, attorneys talking to her. And there's a little bit of stripping of autonomy here. Like, she isn't just some perpetually fragile little girl who knows nothing. Like, literally watch any interview with her, like any of the two of y'all Files podcast
Yeah, he did.
episode. She's a
Ever since then, he
well-articulated,
did.
intelligent young woman who has a lot of experience, you know, in things like understanding the law, the prison system, public relations, Hollywood. Her voice may sound a little babyish, but she's not a baby anymore, you know? Carries herself very well, and some people still acting like she's just this helpless little girl.
She didn't even know how old she was, dude, for real.
International interviews last night, and one of the questions was like, how do you feel now that you're getting all this attention? You know, but
She's high pitching it up a little bit.
okay, and everybody in the room just like jumped up and was like ready to like, am I, you know, find her, am I okay? They were freaking out for me, and I'm like,
Oh,
no,
she
guys,
sped it
I
up.
got this. Like, it's something
That's
that I
not her
have to
voice. That's
address
sped up.
because it's always in my comments. Like, why are we glorifying a murderer and this and that and the other? I don't want to have to remind people every single time that I'm not the one that committed the act of the kill.
Now, as we talked about in part 1, well before the crime, Nick Godejohn had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and after the crime, he made claims that he believed he might have dissociative identity disorder, and elements of this, in particular, like his ASD, became part of his defense strategy during his initial trial in November of 2018, though, as many of you who participated in my questionnaire stressed, people with ASD and DID are more likely to be subjected to abuse than they are to committing violent crime. Rebecca agrees.
Bringing up Nick's autism diagnosis within this trial is extremely harmful.
Now, this goes without saying, but I'll reiterate. Obviously, we're just talking about the circumstances of this case. We are not here to stigmatize these disorders.
No,
People
but they're,
with ASD and DID
people with
are not
autism are
others.
also, depending on how far they are on the spectrum, are also more able to be
life. I want to take a quick moment
manipulated.
to thank again
Like,
all of you truly
so
for the
yeah, my
kind,
vape's good. I love it. It's good as
insightful
fuck.
comments on the last doc. Like this one from Blockhead514, which is honestly a great name. Quote, as an autistic person who is so sick of the way we're talked about in society in general, who also loves your videos, I have to admit I was nervous as the video began and the topic of autism inevitably came up. But my heart then filled with a surge of warm relief as you went on to say all good, informed, accurate stuff about us and about autism without harping on it at all, purely being respectful while actually caring to learn what autistic people prefer. Thank you so much. Anyways, I just wanted to shout that out because I absolutely love hearing from our community, and I know it's not always easy to share something so personal, so thank you for that.
Where we rate each other's voices, sure.
In one place?
ESPN Plus content is now on Disney Plus. Looking forward to being on the same.
Mine's -6. Yours is, I don't know, I've never heard of it.
Was more manipulation than love. If I would have known that, I probably would not be in this
Probably
situation. I mean, due to my
-12.
main disability, it's pretty easy for me to be deceived. So he believes because of his
Your voice is a
diagnosis,
7, bro.
he's more vulnerable to being manipulated. And honestly, there were a lot of y'all who commented that being your experience. Quote, hi Swoop, I'm an autistic and would like to say a few things.
I'm an autistic? Is that how you say that?
Everyone, hence why we are vulnerable.
I think you'd say I'm an autistic person.
We also tend to be very obedient and easily manipulated since we are so honest and literal. We think everyone else is. We also are bad at reading people and social cues, which leads to missing malicious intent. Having said that, I do not like Nick's diagnosis being brought up in the way it was because we are so infantilized. People have this thought that autistic people are not capable of anything bad, and I cannot stress enough how untrue that is. Of course, we always remember no one's a monolith. Just because this is one person's experience doesn't mean it's everyone's. I'm just sharing to showcase the very vast and valid opinions and perspectives that people have on this story. So thank you for sharing. Now, Go to John's attorney, Dwayne Perry, said doctors have diagnosed him with ASD, which, according to Perry, quote, interferes with a person's ability to...
You sound 14? Yeah, that's why I'm saying your voice is not a 7.
He was diagnosed with autism. Mixed with autistic.
Yours is 999.
He was unable to form the necessary intent to commit first degree.
A low-functioning person with autism.
Is that true specifically for Nick, or was that just a defense? I have no idea. But I do remember after Nick had been arrested and his mother was talking to the police in an interview, told her that Nick was basically going to have the mental development and mental maturity of a 15 or 16-year-old, which...
It's funny because you're 15, so of course you sound 14.
So that's why we kind of, treat him like when he was last doctor he talked to, they said his mind is probably always going to be 15, 16, right around there.
There are a lot of nuances to this, and it went beyond just that. So Gypsy Rose also speculated that Nick has dissociative identity disorder, DID, as formerly known as multiple personality disorder, though we should stress Gypsy Rose is not a mental health professional. And as we discuss the mental health stuff, I'll just kind of reiterate what I said in part 1, that I'm not a professional, I'm not a mental health professional, so I won't lean one way or another, nor can I make any claim as to whether or not Nick is fully aware or not of the status with his own mental health. I will not be trying to diagnose anyone. I won't be formulating any opinion one way or another on this because I can't. According to Gypsy Rose, in an interview with Dr. Phil in 2016, she observed that Nick had multiple personalities that were violent and scary.
Thought that he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor.
A 500-year-old vampire named Victor. What do you think about that?
I was like, oh,
That's true, though. There's screenshots of their vampire accounts that I've seen on documentaries and shit.
You did believe he was a 500-year-old vampire named Victor living in Wisconsin.
But I want to stress again that there's no evidence that Nick was
-999.
with DID. ASD
So it's
is his only formal diagnosis that at least I'm aware of, and since attitudes have been shifting, I thought we should revisit this so that people don't, just like jump on misinformation or run around villainizing people actually diagnosed with DID just because, Gypsy Rose or Nick made guesses about this.
It's more like 999 upside down. Good morning, Gitamus. Good to see you. We're listening to a Swoop documentary right now about Gypsy Rose.
You might be asking, Swoop, my dear blue-haired friend, why the hell
My fellow blue-haired friend.
Well, after her prison release, there's additional context about Gypsy Rose that may shed new light on the case. Maybe, according to some perspectives, and with the benefit of hindsight a year later, and theoretically rehabilitation in prison, it's worth asking, how does Gypsy Rose feel about Nick now? Quote, a condition of my parole is that I cannot have any contact with him, and I don't want contact. I feel responsible for putting him in this situation. However, the axe to commit murder was on him as well. I mean, everybody has a choice, and he went through with his, and so he's paying his sentence. I paid mine, and that's my thoughts on it. So, Gypsy Rose could no longer speak to Nick, but
I got you.
Probably for the best. I mean, the last time that these
we still have an hour and 20 minutes.
I thought it was interesting for her to say, firstly, that the axe to commit murder was on him as well, which is in direct conflict with her later saying that she didn't commit the act.
Hold on, dude.
Love how we all
Sorry.
Up on a traumatized. Love how we all Sorry. Up on a traumatized child and say to years of abuse were inappropriate. Like, that kind of doesn't severely mess you up. Honestly, in these types of cases, I don't blame the victim for killing their abuser at any point. I believe Gypsy Rose is innocent and was in the right to murder her mom. The mother deserved it. Now, when Gypsy Rose says everybody has a choice, does that kind
saying
of
the fucking mom deserves it.
Conversation of people declaring that she
I will watch it though, Jordan.
Also, when people say that,
what's up, Noah? And happy Christmas month.
Gypsy Rose herself has said no, she didn't. She didn't deserve that.
I'm hearing these words like, your mother was a whatever. She deserved it. And I'm like, no, she didn't.
She says she had a choice. Maybe she's right. Now, there are other factors that could also be manipulating Gypsy Rose into reframing her story after prison. Enter Melissa Moore. Now, I want to head this up by saying that these are all just allegations. It's nothing that we can prove. A lot of it is speculation. So these are theories floating around that a woman named Melissa Moore is pulling the strings for Gypsy Rose, directing her on how to navigate life as an ex-con and how to maximize the profits in the situation and, by extension, maximize her own profit. Yes.
Damn.
I said we're diving into multiple perspectives, okay? So here's another one that,
because it's a tattoo that I like. Oh my god.
A victim. She's the daughter of the infamous smiley face killer who made appearances on Dr. Phil and Oprah as a victim advocate. Dr. Phil is a scammer, so
Facts.
And she was later a correspondent on the Dr. Oz show for like he's also a scammer, so yay. Now listen, obviously doctors Phil and Oz are not Melissa. Now to some, it appears Melissa is trying to raise awareness about childhood abuse victims and the violence that can be perpetuated by your own parents.
Melissa's here today. She has a good book called Shattered Silence. I think Dr. Phil encouraged her to write, and I want Dr. Phil to explain a few things for us. What she was saying, I went to the prison to see my father.
But to the skeptic, because there's always a skeptic, people say Melissa is intent on climbing the Hollywood ladder, and the Gypsy Rose case had indeed caught her eye after Gypsy Rose was sentenced to prison, because Melissa reached out and asked Gypsy Rose to talk, and at first Gypsy Rose refused, but Melissa was persistent, and they would go on to have, months of phone calls and conversations from prison, which Melissa eventually turned into a book. She co-authored Gypsy Rose's memoir titled Released: Conversations on the Eve of Freedom. And that Lifetime series, we've shown a few clips from the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose. Yeah, well, Melissa Moore became an executive producer of the series, so people started to wonder, what was the intention behind her interest in Gypsy Rose?
7 years ago, I was working in daytime talk, and it was an assignment that I was given to go and see if I can secure Gypsy's interview for this daytime talk show. When I sat down to meet with her, she was not interested. She said no. And that's okay. So we sat there and just talked about regular life things. I found her environment really fascinating. I was in a room full of other inmates, and what I found fascinating, as she was sitting across from me, she started to tell me all these other inmate stories. She's like, that girl over there, she's in for killing her husband. That girl over there, she's horrible to bunk with. I'm like, oh wow, this is like high school on steroids. Like,
Now, when Melissa says that she was
literally.
working in daytime talk, I believe she's referring to the segment that she had on the Dr. Oz show as their like true crime correspondent. But during this interview, I think it's fairly clear that she feels a sense of attachment to Gypsy Rose and even a sense of obligation. Melissa says that she was disappointed when Gypsy Rose got married. Oh, by the way, Melissa says all of this right in front of ex-husband Ryan's face, which, ouch, yeah.
for me, I got really attached. Like I saw a vision for Gypsy that maybe wasn't her own vision, but I had a vision for Gypsy that she was going to walk out of prison.
Oh, yeah. Look, she's saying that's right.
And have this relationship that she never got with her parents, and that she was going to discover who she is, explore freedoms for the first time, riding a bike, driving a car, eating real food, different.
As her husband's right next to her, right there.
That was her first taste of real food.
Gypsy Rose's husband.
So,
I ruined her vision. I did.
Melissa had a vision for Gypsy
Damn.
Rose's life after prison, which listen, okay, I'm not trying to make any direct claims here, but if I was just going
That's
off
cool,
of
Jam. Thank you.
maybe Melissa has
That's
good intentions, but to the skeptics, make it feel like she could either have gotten just a little too close to her subject, and Gypsy Rose is considered her subject, being that she's co-authored her memoir and executive produced a show that makes Gypsy Rose, a subject as well. So is she just misspeaking, or was she doing the Hollywood, song and dance of twisting parts of the narrative a bit to pull at the heartstrings of her readers and viewers?
Hey, sorry for interrupting. Isn't that annoying?
I have to pee so bad, guys.
Get rid of ads like this?
Skip ads forever. And then it gives me the skip ad
So the
button.
allegation goes, Melissa is
Okay,
someone
guys, when I come back, we're gonna finish watching this, but I have to go pee really bad, so I'll be right straight back. But make sure you don't leave, and make sure to get your popcorn and like your drinks and shit, because we're gonna finish watching Swoop. It's so much fun. I actually really like this. This is cool. We need to start doing more live streams like this. Where like we just watch stuff and chill. Because like, yeah, it's cool. Alright, anyways, I'll be right back. I gotta go pee. Hold on. I'll be quick, because I want to finish watching this. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm back, guys. Hopefully you guys are still here. Maybe some of you, at least. At least it says a couple of you are here, so. Yeah, what's up, JM? I tried to be as quick as possible. Your girl's about to get some dip for the chips, because that sounds fire, low-key. Okay, there we go. We come with snacks. Mook to me. Sorry. Alright, we're gonna get back to the documentary. We can still talk. I want you guys to, actually, so please do talk as much as you want. Talk about this, engage. Yeah, let's do it.
Honestly, again, Gypsy Rose is a whole grown-ass woman. I don't know why some people insist on forgetting that part of this. She is. Has she developed at a different rate? Absolutely. Two things can be true at the same time. That could be true, and she could also be a grown woman, and a very articulate woman. I'm never not going to point that out. The girl can talk, and she can walk articulately. I don't even know if that's a word. She probably knows that more than I do. I think she wanted to be an influencer, hence the books and the interviews and the shows, and let's be real, the internet was going to make her an influencer whether she chose it or not. And I'm sure making likely millions of dollars right out of prison has a nice feel to it.
Honestly, I tried to get in, I'm trying to do more like influencer videos on social media, fashion, because when I first came out of prison, apparently I was very not fashionable. Like the outfits that I wore and stuff like that. Like I had friends to let me know what was trendy, but as for everyday things, I am so far behind. So now I'm just sort of Googling and trying to figure out what and follow the trendy stuff, and make little makeup videos and tutorials.
And then there's the ever-evolving theory that this is Munchausen syndrome by proxy at all. And before I discuss this, let me preface, there have been multiple experts who have diagnosed Dee Dee with this disorder after she was murdered. You might notice a few issues there. Ethically speaking, how can a professional diagnose someone with a mental disorder when you can't even evaluate them? And if you try to stretch it to say, well, we'll diagnose based on what Gypsy Rose says, still, how can a professional diagnose a person who is no longer here based off the statements of someone else where you'll never be able to fact check a lot of it, and she might have something to gain from the statements she's giving, allegedly. So then we wind up with even more confusing statements, like Gypsy Rose saying this about Dee Dee, quote, she was diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia when she was a little younger, and so she was not taking medication for that. Followed by this confusing thing from another publication, quote, Blanchard also said her mother had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. It is unclear whether Dee Dee had been diagnosed with the disease, was taking medication for it, or if others noticed her unusual behavior during her frequent public appearances and medical appointments. It is a slippery slope. Listen, I'm not saying Gypsy Rose is lying, but, and yes, I said but, do these muddy circumstances that no one except Gypsy Rose could possibly know the full story of, and even then I don't know that Gypsy Rose knows the full story of the bipolar and all of that, I don't know. Could statements from Gypsy Rose, which again also, Gypsy Rose was heavily allegedly drugged by her mother for many years, and she was a developing brain, so that kind of a lot of things up too. Could statements from Gypsy Rose give a professional actual authority to diagnose a dead person?
No.
I think I know the answer, but will all my mental health professionals just like chime in the chat? Let me know your thoughts on this. How do you feel about this? Now, I will note there were doctors, one in particular, who suspected while Dee Dee was alive that she potentially had Munchausen syndrome.
What do you guys think? Do you think you can
made notes of it,
diagnose somebody with a mental illness post-mortem?
It was never pursued, so it's still just speculation. But you know, the majority of the world has just gone ahead and run with that diagnosis of her mother, and yeah. But then you have folks like Dr. Mark Feldman, a psychology consultant for the HBO documentary series Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, who diagnosed Dee Dee with Munchausen syndrome by proxy despite having never met the Blanchards.
You gotta start from the beginning here. The Munchausen syndrome by proxy. How did that develop in D.V. Blanchard.
I think so too.
Every case is a little bit different, but what did you see here that's maybe unique?
Well, D.V. seems to have grown up as a rather entitled young woman. She is one of multiple siblings, but was the youngest and was favored, it seems like, by the parents. She did get entitled as a result, felt that people should reach out to her, provide her with gifts, benefits. She got a car early on when her siblings didn't. And that entitlement, and...
I don't know. Yeah, I feel that.
Being medicalized by her own mother in a pattern that could be Munchausen by proxy, I think predisposed her to this sort of behavior.
And he was compensated for his appearance. I mean, the media took this informal diagnosis and just ran with it, and so did much of the world.
Notice Feldman admits
True.
he searched the internet to find out facts about the case. Well, this is just ludicrous. Doctors don't search the internet to diagnose someone with a rare disorder.
What's up,
Feldman
Sophia?
had never
Good to see
treated
you.
Dee Blanchard. He was brought into the case by HBO, who were working closely with the Blanchards to make a pro-Gypsy documentary. Feldman was paid handsomely.
So
Wow.
stay with me for a sec. Here's another comment from my
A
first
pro-Gypsy
quote. The real
documentary.
villains in the case are the doctors who let the medical abuse happen for years and doing unnecessary procedures without even looking if she needed them. Talking about all the procedures that were done on Gypsy Rose, and I conditionally agree.
So true.
I agree, and there's like conditions. If there was even one instance of doctors knowingly doing unnecessary procedures, keyword
What's up,
knowingly,
guys?
then that's a massive problem. And with that
Good to
in
see
mind,
you.
is it then a massive problem to have medical professionals diagnosing someone who they can never evaluate because they're no longer alive? Is that
Chips
just as
and
unethical?
French
I'm
onion
just
dip.
asking questions here. If somehow Dee Dee didn't actually have MSVP, the implication of that is, you know, to some people is that Gypsy Rose was somehow in on the manipulation. But like, you know, she was a child for much of this, so do we think that a child is capable of being a master manipulator in that regard? I'm sure there are some mental health situations.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Complicated. Okay, I'm just going
Breakfast of Champions, for sure.
in the class because I'm just going to set that over there. Now, one thing that I do want to know before we move on, I saw a lot of requests for me to discuss the swarm of new social media posts claiming that Gypsy Rose had a chromosome disorder that somehow explained all of the treatments that she had and therefore was allegedly proving that all of the surgeries were actually necessary and that Dee Dee wasn't doing anything abusive or wasn't lying. Just being fully transparent, I specifically have chosen not to dig into this because I am not personally comfortable with making claims about Gypsy Rose's health and like a
Good choice.
chromosome disorder and potential health conditions, as I believe there's just no way anyone can know the full details
Exactly.
without being her
Doctor.
who
Yep.
evaluates her, who she consents to, and even then, like, who knows? Like, doctors can get things wrong too, okay? I think with my own experience, just as someone living with chronic illness and invisible illness, I don't want to spend time casting doubt on what Gypsy Rose does or doesn't legitimately have medically when it comes to her health, because I feel like that was done for like most of her life, and it
Yeah.
just, you know, like Gypsy Rose, hate Gypsy Rose. At the end of the day, none of us were there. None of us.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, does that sound? Is that a baby? I'm sorry. Are we about to exit to the serious part of the doc and speed run to the unhinged Hollywood bull part of this doc? Why, yes. Yes, we are. So buckle up, class. It's time for Babygate.
Babygate, what the fuck? Oh yeah. I forgot she was pregnant for a minute. She's gonna use that baby for fame and her social media shit, just like her mom used her, but maybe not like... I think she'll be a good mom, because she wants to... By good mom, I mean like, do the basic necessities. We'll see.
So I know the rumors have been flying around for quite some time now, and I I'm happy to announce that I am 11 weeks pregnant. Ken and I are expecting our very first child come January of 2025. We're both very excited. This was not planned at all. It was completely unexpected.
Right.
But we're both very excited to take on this new journey of parenthood.
Okay, tone shift, because we're talking Hollywood, and Hollywood sucks right now. I mean, have we looked at what's going on? If you're not completely up to speed
Good
on the
morning.
Gypsy Rose
I'm good.
relationship
Just in
saga,
here.
then let me break down how we got here. So, after the arrest, Gypsy Rose and Nick still considered themselves kind of like boyfriend and girlfriend, and continued their relationship for about another year while they were in the same county jail, kind of hiding letters to each other in the recreation room or scribbling messages to each other on the walls. But after being sent to separate prisons, the relationship, naturally fizzled out. Not to mention, Gypsy Rose suddenly had plenty of interest from eligible bachelors, inundated with letters from admirers, if you could call them that, and one of those admirers was a man named Ken Urker. And here's where Petty Swoop turns into a tabloid gossiper. The pair first met through a pen pal program in 2017, and according to Gypsy Rose, she knew that Ken was the one from the day she first met him. Romantic? Kind of. A little foreshadowing. They did have a serious relationship, and at one point were engaged to be married before they broke it off because, they needed to take some time apart to focus on themselves.
What are you doing?
Individuals. Now,
Eating and watching a Swoop documentary.
The breakup and stuff. They discussed this on the Vial Files podcast, the second time she appeared on there.
I was holding, resentment, but it's kind of like because I went on this belief that he had left me and I was brokenhearted, and so I felt that resentment. But at the same time, I still loved him in my heart, and so it was torn. My heart was torn.
And you know what? I can respect any relationship that decides to take, some time. Except that Gypsy Rose pretty much immediately then, got with a new man, Ryan, who, as you'll remember, was waiting for her when she was released from prison, had that door open to the sedan. So this is special education teacher Ryan Anderson, Gypsy Rose's now estranged husband. Yes, a lot has happened. I covered their relationship in the last video, but from the jump, the relationship dynamics were off. For starters, Ryan Anderson specifically sought out Gypsy Rose to write to her after years in prison and years of notoriety from the case.
One of those, we were sitting around bored, COVID happened, and I wrote a letter, and it just started that way. I wrote a letter, didn't think anything of it. It was one of those, like, have a good life, and if you'd love to chat more, here's my email address, and if not, take care of yourself. And then she reached out, and it started from there.
But listen, I'm always gonna feel a little, I don't know, I feel a little sideways about people who seek to strike up relationships with convicted murderers and murderer-adjacent careers, especially, if they're teachers of children. I don't know, call me cautious.
Kind of
Maybe
weird.
I'm being weird, but I don't know. Love is love, or some... After their initial correspondence in 2020, Gypsy Rose and Ryan were eventually married in a prison ceremony in 2022, spending almost 2 more years in prison before her release. And upon release, she spent a lot of time defending Ryan from hate comments on social media, which honestly is never going to go anywhere. If you get likes and good comments, great. If you get hate, then whatever, because they don't matter. Source of jealousy is because you are rocking my world every night. Yeah, I said it. The D is fire, happy wife, happy life. Period, Gypsy Rose. Period. This was the start of her life as a new married woman, and she's enjoying all of the adult things that come along with that.
The D is
But I guess the D wasn't that fire. Sorry, Ryan. Because just 3 months out of prison, it seems like the spark had fizzled out, and Gypsy Rose filed for divorce from Ryan, citing his behavior as controlling.
I had to make a choice for the heart. And so that is when I'm like, okay, I realize where my heart is. I don't want to stay with someone just because they're happy. I need to be happy too.
Yeah.
And I think the selfish thing would have been to stay in a relationship and not let Ryan move on. So I ended the marriage, filed for divorce.
So for what it's worth, on the Hollywood scale, and trust me when I say I did not watch every post with or about Ryan, because my gosh, the drama, I'm not so much a person into the drama stuff, but I'd go on a limb and say that he seems genuinely hurt and like he had a real investment in the relationship. Quote, I married her because I wanted to spend my life with her. Gypsy was all I ever wanted.
Like when I say I'm blindsided, I really am blindsided about how fast things happen. You know, it's one of those, you know, we were married, everything was good, and all of a sudden we're no longer married and we don't see each other. It's a lot of process, man. I'm still in like shell shock mode. I'm still in reflection mode. I'm still in. There's a lot of things I'm trying to piece together.
Sure, the money didn't hurt, but I'm just. Anyways, I would guess that it must have felt like Gypsy Rose had ripped his heart out when she was spotted with her old flame, Ken Urker, just days after the divorce or the divorce announcement.
So I ended the marriage, filed for divorce, and
what up, Dylan? How are you?
I reconnected after the fact. As friends, we had a weekend together to see kind of where are we with this.
They had stayed friends after all these years, although some speculate that the friends should be in quotation marks, if you know what I mean.
Where are you at with your divorce proceedings? We're in the beginning stages, so it's going to be probably October because we have to wait the 180 days to have this process going. We haven't even had our first court yet, so. You're not even legally divorced, but you have seemingly found love again. The universe Ken, your former fiance, back together. Was there ever a part of you that thought, maybe I should pump the brakes and just be by myself for a second? I felt, over the course of a couple months, I felt like more disconnected from Ryan emotionally. And so having that disconnection already there made it a smooth transition because it's kind of like Ken and I have always remained friends even after our breakup in 2019. You know, we know Ryan has made it very clear he did not like that. Right. He's been very spoken, and rightfully so. That's his opinion. Those are his to feel. So that is his valid feeling.
But this time Gypsy Rose seemed sure Ken was the one. After reconnecting earlier this month, we realized that our love for each other is simply undeniable, and life is too short not to take a chance. We have a history that made
wild.
a foundation for a new beginning. Side note, am I the only one? Gypsy Rose pumped the brakes as slow as
yeah, seriously.
Did I think that this saga was going to involve chronicling the trail of heartbreak of Gypsy Rose's dating life, but I think that works both ways because, you know, who are these guys deciding to write female inmates falling in love and even marrying them?
Any
while
inmates.
still behind bars. This is a thing. It's a
Crazy
thing
work.
This is a thing that I don't understand. I'm willing to understand it, and I don't. So, to explain that, I think you know where this is going. Petty University, class is in session. Roll the Hollywood intro. So we've seen the trope, a cold-blooded killer and the woman who loves him, and we've got the research to prove it. Women will stick by their man even when imprisoned. Or look at the many female admirers of Ted Bundy or so-called Deadpool killer Wade Wilson, though they are both considered more conventionally attractive. That sounds gross to say, which is, it's an oxymoron. But like even Eric and Lyle Menendez have found relationships and wives behind bars. But when the roles are reversed, the story starts to get weirder. The abandonment of women prisoners by their spouses has been recognized by researchers and practitioners as a noteworthy component of women inmates' subculture and a significant factor of their rehabilitation and re-entry into society. So if you're a married woman headed into prison, you might as well kiss that marriage goodbye. But for single female prisoners, there's a different phenomenon. Thirsty men who want to talk, have a relationship with, and sometimes even marry female inmates. Now, is it all bad? No. It's just, I have questions. Prison crimes tend to attract the most attention from pen pals. That is so interesting. Remember, Ryan specifically sought out Gypsy Rose because her case had caught notoriety on par with that of the Tiger King case. Now, to his credit, Ken was hitting up Gypsy Rose's inbox from the early days, and he, he talked about seeing a thing and he felt compassion for her. And even after their engagement broke off, he never lost touch entirely. So is this true love?
Weirdo.
Can I muster up the care? Probably not, but I do think it's, it's a little fair to question the motives of these men, and I'm not the only one. Quote, let's be very clear. Anyone who goes after someone who is in prison in a romantic way is usually not all right in the head themselves, aka her husband.
They always say don't put a man's name on your body. I kind of messed up with that a little bit back in the day, back in 2018, I had put a K on my ankle for Ken.
Whether conscious or subconscious, both men stood to gain fame or infamy by association with Gypsy Rose, though this is definitely kind of like a double-edged sword. Ryan
Okay, I'm done
Anderson
showing it.
had the unfortunate experience of losing out on a job opportunity because his marriage to Gypsy Rose was deemed inappropriate, which, yeah, but that brings up something else that's interesting.
Hollywood Casino Columbus, where winning moments never end. The old Dosh is the alarm sounds and everyone sees you hitting a jackpot. Experience the excitement.
Hang on, guys. I'm gonna post my link in the Discord.
Fight into bliss at Zen Noodle.
It's a two-way street. Does Gypsy Rose really love these men, seeing how quickly she moved from one to the next?
Good.
Rose really love these men, seeing how quickly she moved from one to the next.
Good
From
question.
Nick to Ken to Ryan, then back to Ken.
So, of course, we've now seen you come out of prison. You were married. You're now going through a divorce. You have found love again with someone from your past. Is tonight date night? No, unfortunately tonight's not date night. He lives in Dallas, and I live in Louisiana. So how are you making it work when you live in two different states? What's the secret to keeping that flame alive? He's actually going to be moving to Louisiana to be closer to me. So you're moving quick. I wouldn't say quick. With our history, I think that we've always had a very close connection. Do you feel like this is the one? This is the person for you that you were always meant to be with? I do. I've always said Ken was my soulmate, so yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating, but there could be some, codependence challenges. Many of us have experienced codependence in some form. First with her mother, then with the men that she chooses to date. Or another perspective, perhaps predatory people target her because revictimization is a very real thing. Quote, a codependent parent is one who has an unhealthy attachment to their child and tries to exert excess control over the child's life because of that attachment. Of course, Dee Dee allegedly established a physical dependency between her and Gypsy Rose for years with all of, the medications, the feeding tubes, the surgeries, but codependency is a notoriously hard thing to spot in a relationship. So let's pull back for a quick second away from the story as I try to do this, once in a while to discuss the signs to look out for if you or someone you know is being controlled by someone else, in your life, in their life. In the case of a parent-child codependency, it can look like over-involvement. For example, if a parent sees that something painful is happening in their child's life, they'll try to gain control by getting involved, often too involved. Did you usually control Gypsy Rose's every move? I know there's discussion around how Gypsy Rose...
This has been kind of interesting, though, for you. Even though I don't really fuck with Gypsy Rose. I hope everybody's having a good day, though, today.
Rarely allowed her out of her sight, and when she wanted to play with other kids outside, she was forbidden. Inappropriate caretaking. Codependent parents will do more for their child than what is age appropriate. Again, Dee Dee consistently treated Gypsy Rose as younger than her age and even
With the
lied to
cat
her about
jacked
her
in. What's up? Capitan. Reco, love the name.
Feelings and take the blame for their child's mood swings. Another major sign of a codependent parent is one who knowingly or unknowingly uses psychological games to get their child to do what they want. This might come in the form of passive-aggressive behavior. This is when a parent is being indirectly aggressive towards their child. Projection. This happens when a parent can't handle their feelings or believes that the feelings are unacceptable. Generating guilt. This occurs when a parent attempts to make their child feel guilty about something to pressure them into behaving how they want them to behave. In the Confessions of Gypsy Rose doc, Gypsy Rose says that her mother raised her on all of these, Disney fairy tales, and that she really truly thought that a Prince Charming would one day come in to save her. Outdated tropes that, don't really encourage women to think for themselves, but, I'm not declaring anything, but I could easily think that Gypsy Rose may tend to cling on to, one man until the next one comes along because of the, the possible codependence her mom exposed her to. And, of course, let's not forget that she needed Nick to the act to kill her mother for her rather than she doing it herself. So, could a codependent upbringing make the child prone to inherent need for a relationship? Well, according to Healthline, children of codependent mothers may
Why are
find it
you up
challenging
so
to
early
set boundaries in
today?
other relationships as they grow up. They
I
may
haven't
feel
been to bed.
anxious about asserting their own needs or desires, fearing it might hurt or alienate
My kid woke up
others. So
early and
balance setting
then
boundaries
yeah,
and
he's
being
been
in a
back asleep
relationship
since,
are
but I've
just
just
they're
been
not a
watching
good
this,
mix.
which has
I
been
think this
almost
girl
2
needs
hours
to
long,
have,
so.
you know, maybe her eat,
What's
pray, love
up,
moment
Tricks
to figure out
Tricks?
who she
Yeah,
is
Billie
without
Eilish
a
for
man,
sure.
but also, you know, that's just, or maybe we're all just flailing and no one knows what the
Hey,
hell
Tricks
life even
Tricks.
is. Class dismissed.
This has been an interesting thing to
Fast forward to
watch.
today. Gypsy Rose is almost 8
I
months
hope y'all know you can
pregnant,
still
and the father
talk and
is,
shit. I
well,
don't mind to
that's
see,
actually a
like,
complicated question, as
I
it
can do
turned
both.
out. After enduring months
Can watch
of
and
online
talk.
rumors that Gypsy Rose was pregnant with Ryan's baby, she published the results of a paternity test on IG that
Paternity
conclusively
test is
proved
crazy.
that Ken was the father. There's been a lot of chatter around the paternity of our baby, and while we've known for sure from the beginning, I feel that it's finally time to put all those theories to rest. Here are the results showing Ken is the father. Ken is
What are you
going to
watching
be
though?
an incredible
It's,
dad,
I'm
and
gonna
we
get
are
I'm
excited
about
to
to go to
welcome
bed.
our baby girl into the
I'm gonna
world.
take a
But
quick rinse real
here's where
quick.
it gets like really kind
Do your
of a little bit
thing.
wild. Ryan Anderson is also the father. What?
Yeah. I'm watching a Swoop documentary on Gypsy Rose.
Will be listed as her daughter's father. This is because their divorce wasn't finalized for 300 days before the time of the baby's birth.
He doesn't have to be. All he has to do is acknowledge that he's not a father.
Is if
Yep.
Anderson signs an affidavit confirming that he is not the baby's
And he'll do it. He knows he's not.
Ryan Anderson in this situation, dude. Imagine that inner dialogue. Not only has the woman who, you know, he called the love of his life moved on immediately with another guy and gotten pregnant by this other guy within a month, but now, like, he's somehow legally and, I don't know, presumably financially responsible for the child that she had with the guy she told him not to worry about. I just, you know.
Sure. Honestly, I have been trying to have a very civil conversation with Ryan about everything because we don't communicate often. And I think that I really just wanted to have that, you know, closure, that one conversation that kind of closed everything up. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm in a place of higher healing and an elevated healing than he is right now. And so I've kept my distance, hoping that he could find that happiness and that healing for himself.
But don't worry. There was time for some petty drama too. She recently made and then deleted a TikTok responding to a video of her ex-husband Ryan dancing with another woman, calling it inappropriate, while she's literally having another man's baby with his name on it. So, you know.
So I want to address a little comment that I made yesterday on a video. I'm sure all of you have clipped it and screenshotted it and seen it. So if you're in this live and you're watching, go ahead and clip this portion of the video. I want to explain why I put the comment that I put.
Good morning, Janisha. How are you?
Ryan dancing with a woman. I want Ryan to move on. And this, like, I don't talk about Ryan in my lives because I don't want to. Like, I don't have to, I don't want to. I have lots of other things to talk about. Yesterday, when I came across this video, for the last, I want to say, couple weeks, Ryan has increasingly kind of gotten on my nerves. I mean, he was my husband. I can say that, okay? And we are still technically married. So,
Yikes.
I think it's completely normal for people to go back and forth with each other in little tit-for-tat ways. Okay, we are not, I'm not going to say we're on bad terms, but we're not on good terms. We're just on terms. When I seen the video, I was not jealous. I am happy for him. If he wants to go and dance with a million girls, if he wants to go to a club, cool, I'm happy. I don't care. Like, I want him to find someone and I want him to be happy.
No, she doesn't.
What I am disappointed in is
The video went to post today.
Gypsy Rose
Interesting.
said the pregnancy wasn't planned, and not that a baby isn't a gift. It's just a very sudden gift, you know, and her fans seem to think so, but many of them also seem to forget the fact that Gypsy Rose and Ken's relationship predates her marriage to Ryan by quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna anyone's Gypsy Rose seems happy with Ken. Love looks like spending time and feeling your complete self with another. It's so cliche, but it gives you wings. But, you know, she has said similar things about Ryan just months ago, so who bloody knows? It doesn't even matter. If we are to believe that prison rehabilitation is doing its job, then she's legally, technically served her time and can now have a, you know, somewhat regular civilian life, and, you know, she can get knocked up with the best of them in maternal bliss.
When I found out that I was pregnant, none of anything else mattered. The drama on social media, the feud between creator and me and all of that drama just all faded. It didn't matter anymore. Oh, honey, I'm so not threatened by you. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. You're just mad because I have a Chad. And last time I checked, you don't have a man. So, looks like you're the one that's panini pressed. Call a spade, honey. Keep making content.
Panini pressed.
All that matters is making sure that I'm healthy, the baby's healthy, my relationship with Ken is healthy, and we are moving forward in a positive way.
Right.
I didn't want to spend all my time binge watching television, so I said, let me go back to school.
But here's the rub. Remember, perspectives. Some people are super annoyed for reasons like this. Her pregnancy announcement originally included a link in the description to her baby registry, essentially asking viewers, to buy her things without saying it directly. The link was since removed, but her registry included a $600 Chico modular tribal system, a $529 Sorel Princeton Elite panel crib and changer, two $300 bassinets, a $320 monitor, a $250 rocking chair, and a $215 diaper bag. Yes, I looked up the diaper bag because I'm a thorough bitch, and how the f does anyone afford to be a parent with those prices? Holy shittle bits.
She's super rich. She posted this public registry.
You don't have to spend that much as a parent. You just don't. That's how we afford to have kids. You don't buy a $250-some stroller. That's how.
However, you can go to babylist.com and buy a gift card for Gypsy Rose Blanchard if you want to do that. Do you?
So, people call this dry bagging. This seems to be a potentially emerging term, but it is understood as a psychological tactic used to elicit a desired response or action from others without directly requesting it. This phenomenon has gained traction in recent years, particularly with the rise of social media and digital communication platforms, where indirect appeals for attention, sympathy, or real assistance can reach a wider audience with just a few keystrokes. It's kind of the verbal equivalent of leaving a tip jar, or like, you know, the social media equivalent of like having, you know, the Venmo or Cashapp on the screen for your post, you know, which Gypsy Rose doesn't have, presumably, but she does have links to her Amazon storefront, which, fair. Now, I do find this impulse to ask her followers to contribute to her baby costs interesting, especially given how Dee Dee used her child, aka Gypsy Rose.
360 for the boys. That's weird as fuck. Or hey, that's weird as fuck to ask. You can get a hand-me-down stroller. You can.
How should we feel about Gypsy Rose profiting off of which is tied so directly to her crime?
Nobody likes it.
Off of her crime. In these Louisiana laws allow her to keep some of the proceeds from her appearances or stories derived from her likeness. Any proceeds from a contract with the defendant relating to a depiction or discussion of the defendant's crime in a movie, book, newspaper, magazine, radio, or television production or live entertainment or publication of any kind shall not be subject to court order requiring payment of such proceeds to the treasurer unless an integral part of the work is a depiction or discussion of the defendant's crime or an impression of the defendant's thoughts, opinions, or emotions regarding such crime. Wow, that was long. In layman's terms, Gypsy Rose could potentially be allowed to keep the money earned from her story. I don't know. There's one school of people who think that she's been through hell, let her make money. And then there's others who think she caused hell, let her burn. And it's not the first time that we've let a murderer, a second degreer, or an alleged murderer achieve a degree of celebrity. Sure, OJ was a football player, but the case only made him more famous when he found ways to profit off of it once acquitted. Y'all remember the If I Did It memoir from him?
Yeah.
That's nasty work.
6 uninterrupted minutes. OJ puts himself hypothetically at the scene of the crime.
Hypothetically.
Chapter 6 is called The Night in Question. And you write in the book, now picture this and keep in mind that this is hypothetical. Why don't you tell me what might have happened on the night of June 12th, 1994? And let's just walk through the night.
Well, first of all, this is very difficult for me to do this. It was very difficult for me because it's hypothetical. I know and I accept the fact that people are going to feel whatever way they're going to feel. They're going to, whatever they want to feel.
Gypsy Rose and Ken Urker's child is due in January of 2025, and one thing that's a growing concern is, since Gypsy Rose has been monetizing her pregnancy to some degree, does she intend to become a mommy vlogger? Is there the possibility that Gypsy Rose may do as many a family channel has done and use her own child as content for a source of income? And why does that sound so familiar to this story?
I'm your mom.
I'm your dad.
And you are a girl.
And this is the sad part about abuse. This is kind of the generational cycle inside. There's the classic cycle of abuse inside of a relationship. And there can be, kind of a pattern, a cycle of
Oh my god, my legs hurt.
trauma and abuse. A pattern of behaviors that one child takes from their parent, grows up and in turn behaves in a similar nature. It's not a guarantee, of course, and we won't know if Gypsy Rose is going to vlog her family, even though the reality shows, it's kind of the same thing. But, the bun is still in the oven, and so we don't know. We don't know.
That you have to make sure that you protect, you love, you take care of, and all of the things that I wished I could have had when I was little.
She's gonna say she's gonna protect her kid until she's blasting their little girl's face all over social media.
All the things that I wanted in a mother, I want to give to this baby. Knowing that I am a mother now. And I'm happy. And I just want to be a good mother for my child. I want to be everything my mother wasn't.
But literally think about it. If Gypsy Rose ever started making, family vlog type content with her child or continued the reality show, number one, yes, family vlogging is a very slippery slope to child exploitation. Just ask the very brave Sherry Frankie, who recently gave a scathing statement about the evils of family vlogging after what she survived from her mother, Ruby Frankie. But also, content lives forever. Think about it. No matter what, that innocent child will forever be followed by the criminal actions of her mother in some degree.
You will have to have a conversation with your daughter. You're a long way away from that, obviously. What thoughts have you put into that?
That conversation is going to come up someday, and how do I want to address that? How do I want to handle that? And I feel like when she is of the right age to understand, we are going to sit her down together. And also with my dad and Christy, we have that support there, and we're going to explain things in a way that's not overwhelming, but enough to where she understands where my life was at that time. But also, that's what's so important for
Well, at the age of 6.
because
No, she was 16?
I'm not this monster.
Or 18? No, she was 18. No, I don't know how old she was.
All bets are off, in my opinion. Navigating fame and fortune is going to be complicated for anyone, and the court of public opinion so easily sways from
She was an
hero,
adult,
she's
right?
a villain, that I think eventually her child is unfortunately going to get in the crosshairs. And I don't think family vlogging would be a good idea. I rarely think it's a good idea. I think there's some people who handle it appropriately, but I don't know how this would go. But on the flip side, while getting pregnant so soon after prison release is sudden, parenting could also somehow become a part of her healing process. And for Gypsy Rose's sake and her child's sake, I'm rooting for her to just break that cycle.
I fully encourage looking at someone's life in the most truest form. So I'm in support of documentaries. So if she wants to watch my documentaries, I'll let her when she's old enough. Right. And reading my book.
Mm-hmm. In her prison reform area, it says. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Or Leah, Chris, whatever your name is.
At your service.
So, who do you guess is the most random person that Gypsy Rose could possibly strike up a friendship with? Did you say
Kim Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian?
Hi, Gypsy. Hi. It's so nice to meet you.
Kim Kardashian and Gypsy Rose Blanchard join forces on the latest episode of The Kardashians. Kim, who is studying to
Hey,
become a
Cody,
lawyer,
how are
said in
you?
episode 8 of the season that she wanted to see what Gypsy Rose wants to do with prison reform.
Aside from how bizarre it is to see them in the same room together, Gypsy Rose appeared on an episode of The Kardashians to have a totally not at all staged conversation about prison reform.
Following your case for a really long time. Really? So, like, I wouldn't want to come and, really meet with someone that I feel like can make an impact just for, like, the sensation of the case. Right. I recognize that, like, you can make a big difference because you can really articulate what you went through, right, and how you can get through it.
In case you haven't been keeping up with the Kardashians, Kim's latest side quest in life is to get a law degree and become involved in prison reform. And honestly, feel how you feel about them. We applaud a woman who is extending her education. It's not an easy thing to do. Now, she hasn't passed the bar yet, more so the baby bar, though I hear that is one bitch of a baby, so,
I received a notice that I didn't qualify for one-on-one therapy. Wow. You would think that they would want to set you up and give you all of the tools that you would need to be as mentally stable and to be as healed as possible to come home into society. Why wouldn't they set up all of these programs? It always blows my mind. Just the simple fact that she couldn't get therapy while she was in prison is a problem, and I think that ultimately we want to bring people home that are rehabilitated.
She also explained some of the difficulties she's facing now that she's free.
Reentry's been a whirlwind for me. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are living at a residence, and they're pressuring us to put me on the lease, and I won't pass a background check. I think it's like the system is just it's built to fail. It really is. I want to bring awareness. I want to be the person that I wish I had to guide me.
Now, Kardashians aside, Gypsy Rose is really bringing up some great points about the lack of access to mental health services and the lack of focus on rehabilitating incarcerated people. Even when released, the impact that a
Oh, thank you, Cody. You're so freaking sweet. That means a lot. I don't really think I am, but that's very sweet of you.
As Gypsy Rose mentioned, it's hard to be approved for a lease, but it's also tough to pass a background check needed for a job. Quote, there are no federal laws that explicitly prohibit employment discrimination based on a criminal record. However, there are some limits on how much a criminal record may be considered. A number of states have enacted laws that prohibit arbitrary bans on employment applicants with criminal convictions. Gypsy Rose is obviously facing challenges navigating life on the outside for the average person with a criminal conviction or felony.
Did you just say Sigma in my chat, bro? What the fuck?
To normal, because especially in the United States, there's a new normal after you've been incarcerated, and for Gypsy Rose, she's never had a normal day in her life. And I mean, she's about to have a baby 1 month after getting together with a guy, and they can't even live in the same house right now. So yeah, normal.
I'm doing my best to try to make my family proud. There's like an internal battle going on inside because it's like I know that I did something wrong. I paid my consequences, but I feel like half of everybody still wants to condemn me, and the other half is rooting for me. Because I post a selfie, and then I'm expected to have this like greater message behind it, and I'm like, I'm just having fun.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to like post, and I say, and then ghost, and then like post and ghost, and not like pay attention to all the comments and what's being said, because not everything has to be such a deep message. I think the way you live your life is moving forward is the deep message.
Kim is right. Maybe living a normal life is the advocacy. After all, you know, Gypsy Rose served 8.5 years in prison and says that she's
Love
now
that emoji.
rehabilitated and ready to live a
Oh my
new
god,
life.
my feet.
And isn't that the goal of our prison system? And then also, I'm so curious, would there be any type of like prison reform and rehabilitation efforts and like
Oh, they're outside. Rizzy. Dude, are you like 12? Like, I really think you're 12.
Orchestrated and asked him and said that she needed him to do this to get her free.
Nick asked me, are we still doing this? Am I still, coming there to do this? Yes or no? I said yes.
Who talked you into killing your mother?
I did. I talked him into it.
But then also said that, you know, if he was a real man, then she wouldn't be in the prison in the first place and kind of blamed. You know, I have questions. Had I met a real man who I confided in to help me get out from under my mother's grasp, I would not be sitting in prison right now. I have questions. I would just wonder if the prison rehabilitation reform extends to him. I don't know. Maybe no one wants it to. I'm just asking questions.
It is very difficult for incarcerated individuals to get the extensive mental health therapy that they would require.
But that's not only the cause that Gypsy Rose has lent her voice to. Her social platforms have had her listed as an advocate for Munchausen syndrome by proxy, but her followers have questioned whether she has done any effective advocacy work since her release, or if she thinks that raising awareness and making paid for compensated appearances is enough.
I think that there is a lot of things in our justice system that needs to be addressed. So I am an advocate for prison reform, but also for abuse victims.
Nice emoji, Cody.
Gypsy Rose
I
has
love
also
that.
expressed an interest in working with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, who she and Dee Dee had, you know, taken free trips to Disneyland on behalf of when Gypsy Rose was, you know, faux sick with what Dee Dee was doing.
I was a child. I did not know that my mother was taking advantage of this organization, and it breaks my heart to know that. So I personally have made a donation to Make-A-Wish because I feel like there is nothing that I could ever say that will make that right. However, by giving a donation to Make-A-Wish made me feel like I was giving that wish back to a child, that I was giving back what was taken.
Listen, I know there's a lot of criticism and debate around her advocacy, and I'm kind of somewhere in the neutral area of, like, I would rather someone be bringing awareness to the fact that something exists, even if they don't do it in some specific way that the public wants. As long as she's not, you know, spreading disinformation, like, I'm not going to criticize her for making a donation to Make-A-Wish Foundation. I prefer that they would get money rather than no money. But here's my next question. What even makes an
Phantom
advocate?
text.
Like, is there some magical rule book? I mean, I know that there are associations.
I'll give it to
accreditations,
someone.
What
Sigma.
actually, who defines the rules? Is it just based off of actions and intent, or is it based off of what the public expects from someone? Is it a little bit ridiculous to be debating what makes someone or not someone? Is the only way to be considered an advocate by working with an organization? If it is believed that she is a survivor, is Gypsy Rose allowed to consider herself an advocate even if she's not actively working for a cause? Can someone simply call themselves an advocate? Is it up that people even feel the need to judge who is and who isn't a proper advocate, which literally just places stigmas on the work of advocacy? I just sometimes see people get real, like, splitting the hairs of what makes an advocate. And if someone says that they advocate for someone, or they are an advocate, or they do advocacy work, or they do work that is in efforts to advocate for something, why are we picking these people apart for this stuff? Are they doing good? Are they helping some people? Are some people, maybe not everyone in the world, but are some people getting some type of benefit and help and positivity and healing from whatever it is that that person is doing? Because if they are, then can we just leave them alone and let them do something positive? I don't know why we would tear that apart, but people have nothing better to do with their lives sometimes, and they tear that stuff apart. Is Gypsy Rose in that caliber of just trying to do good things now in the world? Time will tell, I guess. I think it's a little early to tell.
Let me show you how to block this ad. First, you're gonna click on this video, then you're gonna download Pi. It's an ad blocker that's still.
Not everything has to be such a deep message. I think the way you live your life is.
Guys, make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. It really helps me out.
Never did I think that I would say that sentence, but here we are. Is Gypsy Rose an advocate just by telling her story? As it turns out, kind of. Remember the hashtag Free Gypsy Rose that was going around TikTok? Past reporting in the Miami Herald noticed that back in January of 2024, that the call to free Gypsy Rose on TikTok had led to new hashtags calling for the release of other convicted criminals in high-profile cases, namely the Menendez brothers. Poster @BoringGirlBex compared the Blanchard and Menendez cases in a video captioned, "Just thinking out loud here, I think perhaps they deserve another trial or even a resentencing." Another user known as Shady Williams compared the abuse of the two cases and calls this situation unfair. And yes, friends, I have a massive deep dive doc on the Menendez brothers coming very, very soon. Did you know that they could go free in a few weeks? Now, this was a whole 6 months before the Netflix series, which examined and dramatized the case. It was called Monsters, the Eric and Lyle Menendez story. Before that was released, and do I have a lot of thoughts about that? Stay tuned, stay tuned. Like, even Gypsy Rose kind of a little bit has a take on their case, a little bit, sort of, when she was approached at an airport by TMZ to get her thoughts on the story.
But I'm also an advocate for abuse victims in general.
She even offered advice to the brothers prior to their hearing, sort of.
I would say that they're trying to, adjust properly and get therapy because
I think that's a pretty, honest, thoughtful take as best she can give, except, yes, there are claims that Gypsy Rose never went to therapy in prison at all. Not for lack of services, but because she, quote, didn't need it.
This is what upsets me so much is you know everything that I have been through, okay? When I got to prison, I asked them if I could get therapy and really deal with the trauma that I went through. I received a notice that I didn't qualify for one-on-one therapy. Somebody sent me a clip of Gypsy talking to Kim Kardashian, and this is for you, Kim. Gypsy lied straight to your face. Straight to your face.
Oh.
Because all you gotta do is fly a kite and you can go to mental health. I did it, and just for being afraid of mustard. Put me on a lie detector test. I want somebody to put me on a lie detector test. Seriously? Because she told me she did not need help. That she's fine. That's not true. At all. You can get help in prison. And especially the prison that we went to, because I'm doing good. I took prison for what it was, and I did good. It teaches you stability. She even got in trouble for tricking men while she was there. According to the Department of Corrections in Missouri's website, any prisoner that is in their system can get access to mental health care at any time. They can request mental health services at any time during their incarceration, not just at intake.
Damn.
And all they have to do
What's
is make
up, Chop God?
That's it. Gypsy just didn't want help.
This comes from her former
Thanks,
cellmate,
guys. Make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. Helps your girl out so much.
and in fact denied those services. Now, it's worth mentioning there is definitely some beef between these two women. I broke it down in part 1, but we will leave that there.
So, there were some people that got in Gypsy's ear, and there was a big misunderstanding. Our friendship's fine, everything's great now, guys, but Gypsy's been really stressed out due to the mixed information that she's been getting from haters, so we just think it's best that we take everything down pertaining to her. So, I'm giving you a welcome invitation to unfollow me, but this TikTok will be about me and my family, and hope to make it good for you guys.
That's what's up, Cody.
Corrections states that mental health services are available to any inmate.
But not much is up. I'm just sitting here watching this documentary on
Does that mean that if they say it's available, that it actually is?
What's her name?
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just,
Gypsy Rose.
honestly,
That's the one.
only Gypsy Rose knows if Gypsy Rose went to therapy, and at the end of the day, it's none of our business if she did or not in prison. She says that she has after release, and that she's even doing couples therapy with Ken. So I'm just mentioning this controversy to cover some of the bases, but just take it with a pinch, a little pinch pinch of that little salt.
And so, you know, currently we're doing this sort of, it's like a couples therapist mixed with a parenting therapist. So it has a little bit of both in there. And so we just started that not long ago. And, you know, I really wanted to do that because I still do my individual therapy on a regular. And so I'm like, but like there's so much that is being put on us right now and on the relationship that I'm like, you know what, how about we start couples therapy?
It's also worth mentioning that Gypsy Rose respects and appreciates Kim for her thoughts on prison reform, yes, but Kim is also known for having a reality show centered around her family, so I don't know, maybe Gypsy Rose is taking a cue there as well.
I think a lot of people are afraid of touching me as a topic. Really? Because I'm too controversial. So I give you like massive props for being like, okay, I'm gonna come do this right now. And I feel very new at it. So I kind of feel like, what are my resources?
Where do you go and how do you?
Yes,
where
do you begin?
I can totally help you with that because I had no clue. Okay. And I think I figured out the best team that can possibly help people, and I'm happy to introduce you to all of them.
Oh, I would appreciate that.
Who will guide you in the right direction and what to do to help.
As for that prison reform advocacy, for the moment, again, there's no time limit. I know people want things urgently, but there's technically no time limit here. It does seem to be taking a backseat to things like get ready with me videos and makeup routines, which, you know, a girl is allowed to have a little fun. But yeah, when you have a big platform that you're profiting from and specifically designating yourself and giving the stamp of the word advocate on your bios and stuff, I think, you know, it's also fair to say that it comes with a certain level of responsibility, if I have to speak to it. And to think that this whole conversation somehow started with Kim Kardashian.
Damn, fucking ads, bro.
The top 20 playlist doesn't set the mood. You do. Rove nicotine pouches.
I fucking hate ads.
Gypsy Rose has
Guys, make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. It really helps me out.
She often says she's not a celebrity, but the girl is a celebrity, okay? Can we just get that out of the way? Whether, you know, it's having an impact on prison reform or becoming a brand ambassador.
So currently I am thinking about, or at least trying to get more established in social media as being an influencer. So we'll see how it goes for me. I'm very new at this, but I do have a very big platform, and let's see what I do with it. I guess you guys will have to tune in and watch.
Across her platforms on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, Gypsy Rose had changed, but had over 25 million followers. That is freaking ridiculous. Seriously, I get the fascination, but also I can't get to the point of making someone a celebrity who did in fact admit to participating in planning and plotting and murdering her mother, and did say it's her fault that Nick is in prison for the rest of his life, and that she did have a choice, and that she could have chosen something differently, and that her mother didn't deserve it. Okay, it's just not my thing. But with that amount of reach on social media, she's got to be making money off of TikTok at, you know, like the creator fund at minimum, because, you know, who else would be funding her supposed $700 beauty routine?
And so for my skincare routine at night, I use Lancome. So I start with the cleanser at night, and then I move on to the serum.
I am CC.
That just helps tighten pores and kind of smooth fine lines and wrinkles. And then moving on.
I've been live for like almost 3 hours on this one.
Can be used at night or in the morning.
Gypsy Rose is definitely trying to make a splash
Hang on, guys. I'm gonna grab a drink.
In the beauty community, and she's expressed interest in collaborating with Rare Beauty and a Luxe Unfiltered Self Tanner, both of which she uses in her routine. To which I say, good luck with that. Like, listen, I don't know, man. Are beauty brands lining up to sponsor actual convicted second-degree murderers to promote them? I don't know.
No.
Are the Menendez brothers going to be the next influencers sweeping the globe promoting Calvin Klein cologne? Do they make cologne? I think that, yeah. You can tell how much luxury I buy. Gypsy Rose does in fact get the celebrity treatment, like red carpets, glam photo shoots, selfies, designer outfits, autographs, and apparently a restaurant in Louisiana offered her and her then husband Ryan Anderson a big discount if they dine there. And companies have legitimately started sending PR packages to Gypsy Rose in anticipation of her newborn child, like these baby items from Cozy Crew Club, which, okay, baby sponsorships generally mean the baby has to be filmed or photoed and posted on social media using the products, aka maybe family vlogging, aka potentially exploiting your child for profit if it is handled in a poor fashion. I'm not saying she's going to, and I'm not saying everyone who posts pictures of the kids are manipulating and exploiting their children. I'm not saying that. There's a way to do it, and there's a way of Ruby Frankie. So, you know, things are looking they're just looking, okay? I just hope this doesn't wind up in the cesspool at some point. Now, with her reality series like Life After Lockup and a memoir release on the horizon, it looks like she's fully pursuing the celebrity/influencer/advocate route and is becoming a bona fide celebrity at this point. But also, we, as the audience, we have to remember that we feed the beast. Not to say the machine, not to say that these big studios don't play a part in that. I'm sure that they saw the TikTok trends of, you know, free Gypsy Rose everywhere, you know, calling her queen, etc. And obviously they did as Hollywood does and exploited the hell out of it and will suck all the marrow out of that bone until it's dry, baby. But in a lot of ways, it's society that has made her into a celebrity. There were even rumors that Gypsy Rose was on The Masked Singer and, you know, performer as a macaron. No, spoiler alert, it wasn't Gypsy Rose, but let's hope Dancing with the Stars isn't on the horizon, and my gosh, I'm sure that it is. But back to society. Article headlines referred to Gypsy Rose as America's sweetheart, if you can imagine. Yeah, America's sweetheart.
Oh, thank you,
One
Cece.
TikToker who claimed in a
I'll be
video
back on
to be
camera in just a
watching
sec.
at the prison that Gypsy Rose is at with a welcome home Gypsy Rose sign garnered 22 million views. Another person taped up large pictures of Blanchard and added her face to mini cupcakes in a TikTok that gained 2 million views. So, does Gypsy Rose like the fame? That's the question, right? Quote, "I don't like the fame, but one thing I can do with it is some good." Now, I'm not going to say that she hasn't done some good. I think she's done and said some things that are informative. Again, she's very, very articulate. It is impressive how well spoken she is. I also don't know if she doesn't like the fame because she also feeds it. She feeds it a lot. So
Tonight is Ken's birthday, and I want to look absolutely stunning. This screams Kim Kardashian. I'm no Kim K, but I think she'd be proud of this. Now I just need to pair it with the right shoes. This looks too comfortable. So I went with the boots. Oh my god, gorgeous.
But then again, wouldn't you know, because just as I was taking a break while filming this, I looked up some Gypsy Rose headlines, you know, just to see maybe there's an update or something, and she might be taking that step away from social media after all. According to People, and I'm just, you know, going to read the full thing here, quote, "Gypsy Rose Blanchard is keeping her personal life private in the future. In an update on TikTok on Saturday, November 16th, the 33-year-old said that she is no longer sharing personal content on her social media accounts in order to protect herself and her family. Blanchard, who is currently expecting her first baby with boyfriend Ken Urker, wrote, 'I will no longer be posting personal content on this public platform. Since I was released, I have shared with my supporters my hardships and achievements through the lens of social media. However, I find myself at a crossroads that leads me to desire a more private life, sharing with only family and close friends these special moments. I greatly appreciate all the support and anyone who has ever stood by my side. I will keep posting updates on my memoir, My Time to Stand, as well as our seasons with Lifetime TV.' And here's the thing, I have thoughts, because this is one of those things that a lot of people have been saying, Gypsy Rose, please just take a step back from social media. It's moving too fast. Everything's moving too fast. Don't share everything. Just go off and live a quiet life somewhere and get to know yourself outside of someone's control. And I think that that's a valid take. That was kind of my take before, you know, in part one, when I was like, I just think the instant celebrity thing, I don't think it's good for anybody. It's funny because I look at this and on one hand, it's like, this is probably really great and healthy, and I think it's a good idea. And at the other side, not to criticize, not to be critical, because I kind of hope this is the way it plays out, but I am curious why this decision, and maybe it's because, you know, the baby is very quickly due, but I also find it interesting that, you know, she also plugs her memoir, which she's allowed to do, but it's interesting.
Yeah, Kiss My Ex is one of my mods, and he's a friend.
Additional seasons with the Lifetime TV reality show. So is this like keeping everything private?
Good morning, Chop God.
Protected, or is it just
Good to
kind of
see you
funneling
guys.
more towards reality TV? And reality TV in general is just kind of fucking ridiculous. Let's be real. That, you know, I don't know what any of this means. Again, it's one of those time will tell things. Will she become a mommy vlogger eventually at some point because there's big money in that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that there.
Good morning,
I'm not a
Symbolo.
celebrity, and so my reactions to things are like, oh, you know, if it becomes overwhelming, just get rid of it, delete it. So, you know, I became overwhelmed, and I'm like, I don't want this anymore. And so I deleted an Instagram with 8 million followers.
But to circle back where we started this whole thing, with all the newfound fame and fortune, I still can't help but think about her family and her former partner in crime, Nick Godijon, who recently filed an appeal citing ineffective assistance of counsel, which was recently denied, with the Court of Appeals siding with the trial judge saying no. And regarding him wanting to have had an expert witness to testify about his autism, and I'm paraphrasing here, they also expressed that he essentially would not have needed an expert in trial, and that the trial was not inherently biased, and that the conviction would have been the same regardless. So, once again, it looks like Nick Godijon, who murdered Dee Dee Blanchard along with Gypsy Rose in her second degree, will continue to spend the rest of his natural life in prison without the possibility of parole. No psychiatric facility, no rehabilitation program in that regard, and potentially not the kind of mental health support that I also think he needs. Again, something that I never hear people talk about, and something that we dove into before, is when his own mother, the woman who raised him and knew him best more than anyone in the world, unfortunately she's no longer here, said that the doctors who diagnosed him told her that, you know, he would likely always have the mental development of a 15 or 16-year-old. And does that mean something?
So that's why we kind of, you know, treat him like, when he was last doctor he talked to, they said his mind is probably always going to be 15, 16, right around there.
Was he vulnerable? Was he misled? We'll never know. All we can do is speculate. I think that Nick's story is incredibly complicated, and I do think, you know, just like Gypsy's story, I think that Nick's story, which is now often being forgotten with all the celebrity and everything of Gypsy Rose, I think Nick's story is incredibly complicated, and I do think that there was some level of vulnerability and maybe
What's my Cashapp? It's
idea of how you're supposed to express
hang
that
on.
love that moved him to commit this crime.
I'll
that he
help
was asked to
you.
do. And again, if
Oh, wait,
people are giving
hit
her
the 3
standing
dots.
ovations, they're calling her America's
Up here,
sweetheart,
I think it's up
giving
here.
her, you know, that she's a hero,
There's 3
that
dots.
she's an
Hit
icon
description,
for
scroll
finally
down,
breaking
and
free of
it's
her
there.
mother's grasp.
Or it's right here,
Does
but
that
there
mean
it's not with
then
the
we're
star in it.
supposed
Just
to
yeah, hit the 3 dots. It's
at the man
X,
who
just
is
the
the
letter
one who
X, and then
freed
Earth
her
to
from
Ashley.
her
My
mother's
picture pops
grasp?
up, so.
Is he supposed to be considered a hero as well?
All one
It's
word.
that
X,
question
Earth
that
to
I keep
Ashley.
getting stuck on, because number one, I'm not going to
Well,
call him
money
a
symbol,
hero
and
when
then
he becomes
X,
very
Earth to
violent.
Ashley.
I don't believe violence is ever the answer. Gypsy Rose herself said they had a choice, this wasn't the right choice. But if she's an icon deserving of applause and a second chance and rehabilitation and therapy and care, yeah, that's where I get caught up. I don't know, maybe it's the compassion side of me, and maybe I shouldn't feel that way. Maybe he just is exactly where he belongs, and it should stay that way permanently. But even then, I don't feel good about saying that. I just feel like everyone deserves psychiatric care, mental health treatment.
Hi, honey. I'm doing it.
that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, what Nick did, what they did was incredibly violent. We can't ignore that. Do I think it's fair or healthy that Gypsy Rose is now a highly lucrative celebrity with a TV series, book deals, glamorous events, sponsors, potentially paying her millions of dollars based off of what she did, but also what she survived? We can't. She
All right,
survived.
awesome.
She also did. You know, the two things can coexist at the same time. She survived terrible things. She did terrible things. What is the final takeaway of this? And is there one? I still think at the end of the day, when reflecting on the totality of this story, none of this really sits right with me. And I don't think it ever will. So all I can do is hope that everyone involved in this story gets the help and the healing that they need, and that this coming baby, this beautiful gift of joy, is surrounded by love and given a fair chance at a happy life. I truly hope for that for all of them.
Damn.
Oh, child, I am exhausted. I think we need a bit of a kitty palate cleanser, and then I will conclude with my final thoughts. So be sure to grab your very own brand new pieces from the Unbroken collection and the Valid Ribcage collection by tapping the link below and in the pinned comment. I am so excited about this new collection. It just means so much to me to be able to share pieces with you that truly come from
That was so
my
good.
heart. I designed these pieces with one goal: to create a positive, empowering reminder that no matter what challenges any of us face in life, no matter what those look like, that there can be something positive. You know, people try to make you feel broken and worthless. Life is chaos, but the truth is nothing can break you. You are incredible, beautiful, valid, and unbroken. You're worthy, no matter what you look like, no matter what you've lived through, who you love, what you want to do in life. Never forget that. I really came to that realization this year with everything going on. Yes, it was painful. Yes, it sucked. But the very fact that I was able to feel it meant I was still fighting, and I was still pushing through, and that, by definition, to me means that we are unbroken and that we're pretty cool. We're pretty cool people. And yeah, I just want some positive stuff out there. Yeah, so you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, both linked below. That is where I post most often and have polls and check in on life and post opportunities to be featured in upcoming Swoop docs. I also started a Blue Sky. It's The Swoop, so if you want to follow me there. A couple of shout outs from my last doc, The Downfall of Blake Lively and the It Ends With Us disaster. That one goes deep, deep, deep. So check it out. That's linked below. That first shout out goes to Hufflepuff Writes, who says, I was waiting for this doc to drop when everything was going down. Swoop even uncovered a few things regarding Blake's affinity with the antebellum aesthetic that I didn't know about. Thank you for the deep dive, Swoop. You are my petty queen. Yes! Those two petty together, stay ready together. And second shout out goes to Ross, who says, I knew there was some controversy about
I like that. Those
Swoop
who
all
petty together,
It's
stay ready together.
see what was going on, and it's wild. Thank you, Swoop, for yet another amazing doc. Keep it petty. Now, if anyone is interested in being part of, interview questionnaires for upcoming docs, like I've got one for the Nikocado one, please do follow me on Twitter. That is where I make all of the announcements. Also, I have a new second channel. Well, she's officially, I think my second channel, baby, is a year old now. So over here, we do deep dives. Over there, we dip. We don't deep, we dip. They're skinny dips into the unhinged dark waters of the cesspool, where honestly all bets are off. It is much more casual. The videos are shorter, so welcome to the chaos. Huge thank you to our channel members and to our Patreon producers. I have been revamping the whole Patreon page and posting some special extended videos, behind the scenes content. Like I just uploaded behind the scenes vlog of my photo shoot, so you can come along for the ride. I'm also posting additional unhinged videos. I call them the after school special. So there's tons more content coming to my Patreon special.
What's up, guys? I never wanted to make a video like this, ever. But last night...
I remember this.
Last night, we lost Alexia.
What's up, guys? As you guys know, my girlfriend Alexia
She had just passed away in a tragic accident, guys. I cannot get over her, guys. I miss her so freaking much.
A young, beautiful woman gets given the terrible news she has inoperable brain cancer. After trying the traditional treatment methods, she turned to Whole Foods to heal herself instead. She pulled off a heartless hoax, convincing the world she cured an inoperable brain tumor with healthy eating.
It was discovered that you had things to support your fake cancer claims, such as a wig, IV bags filled with cotton balls.
I got I had it posted on social media. This idea or light bulb popped up in my head. Oh, I'm just gonna say that I had sickle cell.
Pretty much sickle cell disease is where it's like 100%, like, it's just like full-on sickle cell anemia.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
I want you to sit back for a moment and imagine this. The year is 2018 and you're scrolling mindlessly on YouTube. You're just trying to keep up with all the
I don't know if
hottest
we should
goss.
watch this
Maybe
one or not.
complete shock as Logan Paul comes across what seems to be a dead body in a Japanese forest. Or perhaps you're one of the folks committed to making sure that PewDiePie was the most subscribed to channel on YouTube.
Your bitch lasagna.
Yeah, that mission failed. Or you had nothing to do with any of that and you're a makeup girly and you were waiting with bated breath for the launch of James Charles's sister collection before he was disgraced influencer James Charles.
None of those.
And so while you await the arrival of the sister collection, you watch a few tutorials. Maybe you watch a few get ready with me's, and you exhaust the usual suspects like Manny MUA, Nikki Tutorials, Jeffree Star, or Raw Beauty Christie. And then you end up on a channel you know about, but maybe haven't watched before.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do a prom makeup tutorial for my ladies out there that are going to prom and want to slay all day. So I just did this simple brown smoky eye and then a nude lip and some balm highlight. So if you want to learn how to achieve this simple but yet cute prom look, then please keep on watching.
This is Daisy Marquez,
Damn.
who at the time was a mid-level beauty influencer.
Yo, Ash Dwight, how are you? I'm gonna mod you.
Brother Nature and Nick Gutierrez, brother of Manny MUA. She got nearly 1 million subscribers at this time, with some of her most successful videos being ones where she participates in the oh-so-classic Boyfriend Did My Makeup Challenge, a prom makeup tutorial, and a rather serious storytime video about being undocumented in America.
We went through a forest and then a river, and then once we passed those little like bushes forest, it was just plain grass.
All in all, it's pretty standard but enjoyable content. So
it has been a minute. Good to see you here again.
This video pops up out of nowhere.
In the beginning of the year, obviously still the beginning of the year, but in the beginning of January, I went for my physical checkup, and they took out some blood work, and they were like, "Oh, are you anemic?" And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "I'm anemic." I was like, "I've already been knowing this." I was like, because of my iron level is low. And they were like, "Oh, no, you're not anemic because of your iron level." They were like, "Your hemoglobin level is low."
For context, this is a video explaining where Daisy has been after a few weeks of inactivity online, where she claims that the reason she went missing is because she has tragically been diagnosed with sickle cell anemia.
So then whenever we went to the checkup appointment, that's where they explained everything to me. So pretty much what sickle cell anemia is, everybody has red blood cells and they are circles. However, if you have sickle cell anemia, your red blood cells are like little crescent moons. I just wanted to let you guys know what has been going on the past 2 weeks. Obviously, you guys are like my family, so I feel the need to tell you guys. Plus, I didn't just want to tweet saying like, "I have sickle cell anemia," and then all you guys go apeshit. Oh my god, what is this? Does she have something deadly? No, so I felt like I just wanted to share something here.
Sickle cell anemia is one of a few kinds of sickle cell disease where blood cells, which are usually round and flexible, become shaped like sickles. They become more rigid and sticky, less flexible, which can potentially slow or even stop.
Ooh, debates.
I found out when I was about 5 or 6, but I never really started to soak it in and learn about it until I was in middle school. That's when I really wanted to be like a normal kid, and I didn't have the opportunity. A lot of times, like I said, like I couldn't walk. I didn't want to be bothered. I kind of just wanted like my medicine, and then I'm like, leave me alone. Let me go through this by myself and deal with it. I get chronic headaches that I still get for, I think, almost a decade now, that I've been having the same headache. I know the hip pains, the joint pains, and everything else. That's like a stabbing pain.
What's good? Welcome back, Jordan.
I get frustrated from it. The
pain is there.
Sickle cell anemia is a very serious condition that can lead to extreme pain that can last hours or even days, with the swelling of your hands and feet, constant infections, and vision problems, to name just a few issues. It can often lead to extreme fever or even a stroke. To say that Daisy's fans were upset would be an understatement, with her comment section being a flood of complete encouragement and well-wishing. So naturally, you, a new viewer, are upset by this unspeakable tragedy. Daisy even mentioned her diagnosis a few times on Twitter, tweeting on August 27, 2018 that, quote, "After 2 weeks of being sick and not going to the doctor, they told me I have an infection in my throat that spread to my toenails, gums, and ears. In case anyone was wondering." In response to
She read it as toenails. It says tonsils.
She responded, "I have a really weak immune system, and also my sickle cell anemia makes it worse." Now, okay, remember, we're still currently living in 2018. If we're not present day, we are still in 2018.
Ever wonder how constitutional carry affects your right to carry and your right to self-defense? We're hosting a 100% free workshop on this topic in your city. It's about your state's specific gun laws and knowing when and how you can protect yourself and your loved ones.
After the reveal of her illness, you go and
You're chilling. That's what's cool. Oh, that's what's up.
Except days later, she's back to posting beauty tutorials. Get ready with me is a random other algorithm hack attempt.
What a loser.
No further mention of her diagnosis. In fact, the next time anyone even close to Daisy brings it up at all is when an Instagram user named Salty Touch begins vaguely posting about a former friend of hers that you and others start to suspect might be Daisy Marquez. Quote, "Y'all, I literally used to have a friend who would lie 24/7 and even lied about sickle cell anemia. And that was her reason she was MIA for a while." Now, the quote gets really wild here, because if this is about Daisy Marquez, then the lie was for the absolute most ridiculous reason possible. You couldn't even guess in a million years if you tried. Quote, "But she really got a Brazilian butt lift and needed time to heal." So, wow. Okay. This was, I mean, this was preposterous, right? Like, who uses that word? But we're using it today. This was preposterous. This couldn't be real. You think this can't be real? And this couldn't be about Daisy. I mean, seriously, who would lie about having sickle cell anemia just to hide that they had work done on their ass cheek? So, it's time you investigate, okay? Get your web sleuthing on, and you go to Daisy's page when you realize the video's gone. You go to her Twitter, tweets deleted. The videos pop up from folks like Dustin Daly calling Daisy out for this, but otherwise, Daisy completely shuts the hell up and never talks about this ever again. Life moves on. She continues making content. Her channel grows to 1.45 million subscribers. And sure, her ass does, look a little bit different to you, but maybe she's been working out. I mean, who cares, right? She moves on, you move on, we move on. So why are we talking about this obscure, ancient, very moldy tea? Because in 2024, Daisy Marquez casually and completely out of nowhere said this on a podcast.
In 2018, I got a BBL. Wait, is this your first time admitting it? Yes, it's my first time addressing it. I never denied it. I just never addressed it. So you never said you did it, and you never said you did? Yeah, but you're literally saying on here, like, yes, I got a BBL in 2018. Right after I got out of surgery, the nurse, I remember waking up, and this nurse came in, she's like, "Hi, honey, like, we're just monitoring you, like, you did lose a lot of blood, like, we just want to make sure that you're good, like, that, you won't have to, like, just to make sure you're good," right? And I remember she was, like, trying to, like, wake me up and keep me in conversation, just to, like, make sure I'm good, and she's just like talking to me, and she's like, "So how long have you been anemic for?" And I was like, "Oh, like since I can remember." And she's like, "You probably have sickle cell."
This is Daisy Marquez in 2024 casually mentioning that she straight up lied to her audience about having sickle cell anemia simply because somebody casually mentioned to her that she might. That was her reason.
I remember looking at my DMs and like message people being like, "How, like, where are you? Where have you been?" Like, I hadn't posted on social media for those 3 days, and then I go into full panic mode. I'm like, holy, I cannot even get up or sit down to use the restroom. I can't like do anything, and then I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, like, what am I gonna tell my fans? Like, I had no content pre-film. Like, I go into full panic mode. And I remember at the time it was just my mom and my ex there with me, and they didn't know what to do.
Just tell them you have a cold.
I'm just gonna say that I
I had sickle cell because. But let me ask you a question. So when the nurse told you like, oh, you probably have sickle cell, like how was her expression telling you? Was she like worried? Was it just
No,
like, oh,
it
you
was
have sickle cell? Like
No, she was like, oh, you probably have sickle cell. Like,
And to be clear, that video she deleted, she wasn't waxing about whether she could have sickle cell. No, she's saying in the video 100% without a doubt that she had sickle cell anemia and waited 6 years. 6 years to confirm.
so I was so happy that he explained everything to me, and just everything that was happening to me just made a lot more sense. All my questions were answered. But then after that, he was like, you're gonna have to get a blood transfusion. They were like, because of the sickle cell anemia, and I was like, oh, okay, and that's it.
We're still in the intro. Let me get to this.
I was getting a lot of hate. Like, it was in an era where, like, you could say anything trendy, or, like, you could tweet anything about me, and it would get so much likes and attention. I was talking about this with my friends, too. Like, back then, the internet was so cruel to me, and I just don't know what. It was almost like a trend to hate on me, and just...
So you were already getting hate back then,
yeah.
Okay.
I was getting a lot of hate, and, like, mentally... I was super weak. Everybody around me knew that, like, any little hate or any little comment would get to me, and I would cry, and I would just, like... Mentally, I was just super vulnerable, so I knew that if I told the internet in 2018, when BBLs were not even a thing, if I were to come out right now that I had BBL, nobody would give a shit.
Oh yeah, right now everybody would
give a fuck. But in 2018, everything's fresh. If I were to come out with that I got a BBL and that's my first surgery, I would have gotten dragged through the mud.
Oh yeah.
And mentally,
What's up, Van? How are
I
you?
was not ready for that. I knew that, like,
You were scared because
I was terrified. I was terrified of the internet. I was terrified of, like, explaining myself. I was terrified. I was honestly and genuinely just a terrified person. That is why I lied. I lied because I was scared, and I f***ed up. So I sat down and I made a YouTube video, and I lied and I said that I had sickle cell, and that's why I was gone off the internet. When honestly, I could have just been like, hey guys, I wasn't feeling good. You know, I was off the internet, and that's it.
I'd love to say a story like this lit the internet on fire, the way some stories for far less things seem to do. But from what I found, even the biggest influencers who have covered this bombshell reveal, like Marquis, The Sesh, or Dustin Daly, who broke the story from what I've been able to tell from back then, have all received a relatively muted response to the reveal that an influencer lied about having a potentially fatal disease for sympathy, for clout, to get everyone to shut up in her DMs as an excuse for not responding. The truth is, this is nothing new in the world of influencers on YouTube and TikTok and everywhere in the world.
What do you have doing today? I'm just sitting here watching documentaries right now.
Reasons ranging from personal gain to financial gain and literally everything in between. And every single time, all it truly does is hurt the very real people who actually have these diseases. Not all influencers with illnesses are faking it. I'd wager that most are fully sincere about what they're going through. But for those who are faking, why the they do this? And do they really think they can get away with it? And I'm almost wondering, maybe a lot of them do. And most importantly, have any of them ever considered the lasting effect that this has on people who are actually facing illnesses or disability? Well, as we're about to dig into the disgusting grift of people like Mel Gibson, you'll realize that this story goes far deeper than ever imagined. And this is what we know. Oh, hi there. Hello, hi. It's my face again. Swoop! If you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. My name is Swoop, and I'm a documentary filmmaker, commentary creator, and professor and dean of Petty University.
No, I don't think I have heard of that.
Talks on unsolved cases, true crime, and social media influencers who abuse their power and manipulate audiences because, as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. We also dig deeper into perspectives, we play devil's advocate, and sometimes, depending on my mood, we take it to Petty University. Have y'all enrolled? Class is in session. Professor Petty is here with your first assignment. Also, for extra credit, connect with me on Instagram and Twitter for a chance to be featured in upcoming Swoop docs. Okay, we're gonna dip into the story, but real quick, how is your holiday shopping going? Like, I don't know about you, but I am tired and I have run out of ideas for people. And when I ask them what they want, they're like, I don't know. So, like, they don't even know. Now, I like to give things that are practical practical and something that someone could use every day or even have multiples of, like Raycon's everyday earbuds. So a huge thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video, and to all of you for checking them out, which is a great way to get something amazing for yourself. It's a fantastic gift idea and also support the channel. Now, y'all already know how much I love my Raycon everyday earbuds. I literally have so many pairs of these everywhere, and they make the perfect.
What kind of game is it, Ashley?
Already has a pair of earbuds.
Or 213?
But trust me, they're gonna love these even more than the ones that they have. Raycon's everyday earbuds sound incredible, and the battery life, honey, the battery life. These things never die. I understand it. They have a huge 32-hour battery life, multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at the same time, which is such a game changer. Do you want to know what my favorite part is? They have active noise cancellation, and it is incredible. I literally just pop them in, and it's like all of the chaos and the distractions around me just melt away, and I can focus on what I'm listening to and relax. It's kind of like being in my own oasis where I can just tune out all of the noise around me. The noise cancellation is so good that I can use these at like a super loud coffee shop while I'm working, or in a room where someone's like watching a loud TV, and even traveling on a flight. Okay, it is really that good. They also have a new quick charge function where you can get 90 minutes of battery after only 10 minutes of charge. And like, let's be real, these types of features are usually so expensive in earbud until now, because Raycon started just half the price as the other guys, and they are so much more comfortable. It's kind of ridiculous. I wear them all the time, running errands, editing, taking calls, going on walks, literally everywhere. So they come with a matching capsule case and have the cutest colors ever. I love the blush violet and also the forest green, and I love these protective case covers that really let you express your personal style, and the covers also support wireless charging, which is just perfection. So darling, consider your gift dilemma solved. Treat yourself or someone special to the most incredible noise canceling earbuds with the best sound and battery life at an incredibly affordable price. Go to buyraycon.com/swoop to save big for the holidays and get up to 25% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 25% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/swoop, and treat yourself, honey. You deserve it. Also, I gotta let you know, I just released the Valid Rib Cage in a brand new color, this beautiful vintage olive. So be sure to grab your very
It sounded like a game. Sorry.
from the Unbroken collection.
It's a YouTube channel. They debate all kinds of topics. I'll have to look it up.
Right now in my shop just in time for the holidays, and thank you so much for supporting small businesses like mine, whether you shop from me or you shop from another small business. I think that is just so important. Okay, back to the doc. Just to give a quick bit of context, because we are believers in context around here. Many of you know, some of you don't. I live with chronic illness. I've touched upon it here and there, but I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I'm also living with a spine injury that causes a lot of chronic pain, and I've been battling some very serious health issues the last going on 2 years or so. So it's been a lot of doctors, very scary tests, hospital stays, and some dark mental health days, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of you in our community are dealing with different illnesses, whether it's mental health, whether it's chronic illnesses, chronic pain, invisible illness, and I want to just continue to try as best I can to destigmatize the conversations around these topics. For most of my life, I've felt dismissed, like even from doctors, and like people don't take this seriously. So I think if I felt that way, I can only imagine a lot of you have felt the same, and when people in this story lie about this stuff, I believe it hurts everyone. It causes doubt on people with real illnesses, and it emboldens the ass wipes of the internet who are like, oh my gosh, she's talking about chronic pain again. So I say, screw them. On this channel, we talk openly about the hard stuff, so that hopefully more people feel empowered to share
I used to more than I do now.
And feel ready to. I'm also feeling hella petty today, and petty is my coping mechanism.
But that's only because I don't play anymore.
Let's have
I don't have a console or anything.
I'm so excited to be back.
Feels like it's been forever.
Many people don't know, but we did almost 1,000 Brain Warriors Way podcasts. We thought we would take a break. Just sort of regroup to come back with new information, important information.
A lot has happened during that time, so we just want to sort of catch up with people.
Meet Christy and Steve, who say they love making memories with their boys. Ooh, not those kind of memories. But because they budget with every dollar, parenting is a little more fun.
We have a goal to see all the national parks one day.
We can plan a trip and go do something fun with them and fully enjoy it because it's
Yo,
fully
you on
paid.
PC?
We have
I
money
used
in
to.
the budget
Oh,
and
you're talking
it's
about
not
me.
stressful.
We're living the life we want. It's totally different and so free. You go, Hannigan family. Every dollar. Make the most of your money.
So, before we get into the sad sack of potatoes that is the influencer grift of this whole story, and my gosh, people find a way to grift. We need to have a little history lesson. So grab some tea, grab your grad caps. So the history of influencers faking sickness online for sympathy or financial gain or both is very long, very convoluted, and surprisingly controversial.
Guys, make sure to hit that like button. All you gotta do is double tap the
Nobody likes a
screen.
grifter, okay? I'm looking at you, Andrew Tater Tot, okay? Plain and simple. If an influencer is lying to you by bending the truth about a story or their qualifications, if they're a specialist, or by even the impact their work is having on the world, people don't like it. They don't like that. Now, for a story about somebody who lies about all three of those things, I'd like to guide you to the story of Mama Max, a future swoop doc topic that I have literally waiting. It's just that doc has been sitting in the drafts. Let me know if you want to see it. But there's another grifter that I've covered more briefly on my second, more unhinged channel, Swoop 2, and that's the kind of grifter who lies about their health. So on Swoop 2, I covered the story of Maddie Russo. If you want to see the full wild story, I'll have it linked below. Those of you who don't know, this is Maddie Russo.
I'm gonna PC.
Yes, Maddie Russo, a TikToker
No,
who
just not
graduated from
GTA on
North
it.
Scott High School in Iowa back in 2021 with a 4.0 GPA. Well, way to go. Who became infamous on TikTok after clips like these started going viral. And now that I think about it, getting a 4.0 GPA really does not indicate if someone's going to make smart decisions with things that they do. Okay, I don't know. Okay, yeah, let's keep going.
My name is Maddie Russo, and this is my story. So, when my older brother, Tyler, turned 18 years old, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is a chronic autoimmune disease where the pancreas no longer produces insulin on its own. With this being said, I was also tested to see if I would develop type 1 diabetes and see if I was positive for any of the antibodies. So when the test came back, I ended up being positive for all 5 out of 5 antibodies.
As a reminder for anybody who hasn't caught that one yet, Maddie Russo was an Iowa teen who made a bit of a career for herself on TikTok.
I
following
do.
an alleged pancreatic cancer diagnosis she unveiled in an interview with the North Scott Press in October 2022.
And on February 10th of 2022, quite possibly the worst day of my life, I got the call from my oncologist, and they found a mass on my pancreas, and I had stage 2 pancreatic cancer at just 19 years old. I was terrified.
Maddie began posting TikToks with tutorials on how to keep, your hair healthy in light of a debilitating illness, videos detailing her desire to freeze her eggs just to make sure she can eventually have kids. She started sharing her journey on LinkedIn, speaking at events as a cancer awareness influencer, and she even started a GoFundMe because, what influencer grift is complete without a GoFundMe with a description that read,
Seriously.
Maddie's cancer has been progressively getting worse and has spread all over her body, including throughout her blood and also on her spine. She has tried everything and given it her all. Chemo, radiation, and other methods have no longer helped. Now, the page received more than $37,000 from 439 donors, according to the Eldridge Police Department. Yes, the police are involved, okay? The police found their tea and they're like, you thought?
Eldridge police have arrested a local teenager for allegedly using false medical claims to raise more than $37,000. Officers say 19-year-old Madison Russo stole the money from more than 439 donors with false claims that she suffered from acute lymphoblastic leukemia, stage 2 pancreatic cancer, and a tumor the size of a football.
But the thing is, medical professionals, online and off, started to notice that some of the details in Maddie's videos were a bit off.
I wanted to share was how I am keeping my hair during treatment with chemo and radiation. I think it's really been helping because it's like medicated. So here's the packaging of that. You just order it online. It comes with like a 3-month supply. I started this right away when I started treatment.
people started describing the details of her claims as so off, it would be considered life-threatening.
So it's my week off chemo, so I've just been doing radiation. However, I've kind of came down with this fever. It's been really weird because I don't feel like sick. I don't really have like a cold or like sore throat, any of the other symptoms. I don't have COVID. I don't have any of that. I just have this like nagging fever and kind of just like that feeling of being like, you know, like run down and stuff like that.
Now, eventually their concerns were taken to local police who arrested and charged Maddie with theft by means of deception, which is a Class C felony based on discrepancies like there being no medical records confirming a cancer diagnosis for Maddie in her city and surrounding cities, a number of inconsistencies in how Maddie prepared things like breathing tubes or even spoke of her illness. The discovery that her videos in an alleged medical office were actually in her apartment. Do I need to say that again? She was posting things saying it was in a medical doctor's office and it was really taken in her apartment. And most damningly, that Maddie had stolen photos from real cancer survivors claiming that they were her. I think hands down that was the most disgusting part of the whole story. Okay. I need to, my petties. Now, Maddie eventually went to trial, rightfully so, and was handed down a 10-year suspended sentence that will go on Maddie's criminal record, as well as 3 years of probation, with the terms of her probation being she has to pay the restitution of $439,385.79. And yes, I have the cents in there because I am a thorough bitch.
I fully acknowledge that what I did was wrong, and I am incredibly sorry. If there was anything I could do to take it back, I would. The reality is that I can't.
She also had to commit no other crimes, do 100 hours of community service, and pay an additional $1,370 fee.
It is absolutely clear to the court that you engaged in a lengthy course of deceit. Today, you indicate my initial reaction, quite frankly, was this lengthy course of deceit was motivated by greed or perhaps social media fame.
So justice served, right? Except this isn't an isolated incident. The reason why the topic of influencers faking sickness is so controversial is because people get caught lying about being ill do nothing but harm the credibility of people who actually are living with any kind of illness. And it doesn't matter which, right? Like, people then don't bother to understand or like acknowledge that the actions of one person have nothing to do with the actions of another. Funny how that works. And so it may start to cast doubt on perfectly legitimate stories of illness. But yet, because some influencers do lie about being sick, and honestly at an alarming rate, as I discovered, I have 2 questions for you that I hope we can answer by the end of this doc. Number 1, why do so many influencers lie about being sick, y'all? Like, what? I don't get it. Is there, what? Does someone send an email? Is there a newsletter? And they're like, hey, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna lie about being sick. I don't, because I'm looking around and like, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit. And question number 2, why do so many people assume that if one person lies, that apparently must mean all influencers and sometimes just regular internet users are lying about the same thing? I wanted to bring all of this up at the front to highlight that there is a distinction between people who may actually be sick with something and people who have something to gain from being allegedly sick, and those who are just here to grift the internet, or I guess make alleged excuses for getting a butt lift, allegedly. This talk is mostly about those people like Daisy Marquez, and also people like Belle Gibson.
Put everything that I knew along my journey with cancer, nutrition and wellness, and put it on the most accessible device possible, the iPhone. And it's just onwards and upwards from there with the Apple Watch. It's even more accessible, and it's an even more personal experience and more personal journey to living the whole life and adopting the support and the resources that we put there for you.
Buckle up, class.
Cindy's a mother. I've been
businesswoman, and she's also living with brain cancer.
For a person living with brain cancer, you look incredibly healthy. So we're diving deep into the history of wellness influencers to talk about a name that I personally haven't heard in a long time. Annabelle Natalie Gibson, known professionally as Belle Gibson. Now, if you don't know who Belle is, she was at one point one of the rising stars of online wellness influencers.
Oh my god, guys.
Over 300,000 followers on Instagram, launching a successful.
Actually, I think I'm gonna end this now, guys, and I'll be back in a little bit. So I'll be back. Bye, guys.